Hey, to our people, how you guys are doing? We're here again, another spanking new day, another beautiful Friday. We're here to talk Liberia because we cannot get tired about talking about Liberia. Liberia is our homeland, our common heritage. Some people get mad when you see Liberia is rising. Small minority, by the way. I'll put in less than 5%. They get mad because in their warped minds, they believe if Liberia rises, they're not going to stay power. So Liberia not supposed to grow. When you see Liberia rising, they get very what would me angry about that. I want to welcome you guys, man, from across the country. Don't get angry, okay? Vote, get even. Don't get mad because Liberia is rising. It will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. We will speak it. We will speak life into Liberia, and Liberia is going to rise. Somebody told me to Dwalu, how can you see Liberia rising when we got debt ruining the country? How can you see Liberia rising when hunger stay in Liberia? How can you see Liberia is rising when we have garbage in the capital city? Sometimes you don't know how to respond. I want you to see the rise of a society in terms of percentage. If we have 95% of the roads unpaved in Liberia before, and then on 2.7 years, we got 90% of the road unpaved. That means less than 2.7 years, we have paved additional 5 percentage point. Well, over the last 177 years, we only paved 5% of the roads in the country. And less than 2.7 years, we paved an additional 5% of the roads in the country. That means Liberia is rising. If it could take you 2 weeks before to go to Grand Jita County in the rainy season, and now it takes you 8-9 hours, Liberia is rising. We are not naive, and we are not aware, or we are entirely oblivious to the circumstances in our society. We do recognize there are still hardships in the country. This is not our argument. We are talking in terms of percentage and the growth being experienced in Liberia. It has never, ever happened in Liberia's history. Ever happened in Liberian history in the same span of time by any president ever. Let me state that again. There has been no president in Liberia's history during their tenure in 2.7 years who has accomplished as much as President Bwaka has accomplished in 2.7 years. Compare apples to apples. This is the argument. And I want to continue to welcome you guys. Hopefully you can hear me because I can see my vibration on the screen because it's being covered by Liberia Rising. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I want to welcome Sandro Brunel. Yes, Liberia is rising. Don't get mad at me. Get even. Show me where Liberia is not rising or is being risen by President Bwaka and his administration. We are making progress. We are making tremendous progress. This is not denial of the fact that there are still hardship in the country. This doesn't mean that there are some people that are struggling. Thank you, Roberta Carr. That there are some people that are struggling in the country. That's not denial of that. This doesn't mean that people in rural Liberia are not still catching hard time. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying compare and contrast to what was there before and what is there today. Do the comparison. If you look at it 1-to-1, Liberia is getting better substantially, and we are not going back to that. I want to welcome you guys, man. You're welcome to the show, y'all.
We will never make that mistake again. Yeah. To elect CDC anymore. Yeah. They said pro-poor but brought more pain. Now JNB fixing what they left in shame. We will never make that mistake again. No more suffering in Liberia. We see the truth, we break the chain. Never again. Oh, never again. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They said pro-poor, but it was pro-scandal. Selling our passports, money just vanished in the channel. Poor youths dying, overdose on drugs in the streets, while leaders building mansions from the people's sweat. They cut their salaries, built their own homes, while the mothers cry, no rice on a plate. Hospitals empty, no medicine to find, but they fly to Ghana when they feeling sick. Yeah. We will never make that mistake again, yeah, to elect CDC anymore. Yeah. They said pro-poor, but brought more pain. Now JMB fixing what they left in shame. We will never make that mistake again. No more suffering in Liberia. We see the truth, we break the chain. Never again, oh never again. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No good school, cause they send their kids away to foreign lands while our teachers barely get paid. No more scam contracts, no more fake plan. Libya rising now under a real man. The truth revealed, corruption exposed, the lies of CDC everybody knows. Now the youth say no more manipulation. Time to rebuild this proud nation. So let the drums be for justice and light. Let the people chant for freedom and right. We learn our lesson through struggle and tears. No more CDC for 1,000 years. Oh, we will never make that mistake again. Yeah, to elect CDC anymore. Yeah, they said pro-poor but brought more pain. Now JMB fixing what they left in shame. We will never make that mistake again.
That mistake will never be made again. For those of you who are getting mad because I said Liberia is rising, I want to encourage us, all of us. Let me tell you guys something about self-fulfilling prophecy. Look it up. If you want to achieve something, you must believe it. You must pray about it. You must work towards it, but most importantly, you must speak it and believe it. I believe that this country is going to rise like a phoenix once again, and we're going to meet our full potential. People that are getting mad say, why you say Liberia rising? Papa, hey, don't look at it, don't comment. But my Liberia is risen. It's going to rise beyond our wildest imagination. When you write on my post and you tell me how you can see Liberia rising, there are unemployment in the country, how do I respond to that? How can you tell me see Liberia rising when there are still people dying in childbirth? We're talking percentages. You know, people don't understand how meager our national budget is. My kids went to a vocational school, and I mean, all the kids graduate with a trade. It's a regional vocational high school. The budget was $1.5 billion with a B. That's a high school. Our entire country's budget is $1.2 billion. President Walker has fought to stretch that budget beyond his wildest imagination on a 2.7 years. 2.7 years, that's how long President Walker has been in power. 2.7 years. Compare his accomplishments to any previous president, 2.7 years, apples to apples. And contrast that and see what this man has achieved. Like I said, we are now oblivious to the conditions in the country and the hardship being felt by some Liberians in the country. But if you look at the conditions of our country, they are improving substantially in every single economic indicator. Look at every number. Look at the number in the agricultural sector. Look at the number of the bread basket of Liberia. Look at flour cost. Look at the rice availability on the market. Look at the road connectivity across our country. Look at healthcare provision. Look at the electrification of our society. Now, those of my rest, but current can still go in Liberia. Of course, current is still going to go because we need a minimum of 1,000 megawatts in the country. We barely have 300 megawatts in the country. But before President Walker came to power, we barely had 130 megawatts. Right now, we 100 megawatts. That's on a 2.7 years. Compare apples to apples. Tremendous progress is being made, and this is what we are talking about. And I want to encourage people, man, most of you guys that are continuing to buy shares, please, if you send me money, you have to reach out. I don't know who you are. You have to reach out to me if you bought shares. I got I think it was 3,200 from the 3 or 4 people. I know your names, but I don't know you. I need to get information from you. You got to reach out to me so I can process your application and mail you your certificate, please. But thank you very much for for joining the Liberian Diaspora Corporation so we can be able to build something and pay it forward to the next generation. Liberia is indeed rising, and we are going to believe this. We are going to celebrate this because Liberia is getting better. Let's listen to Ali Brother. I went to Rafi, and he saw some of the improvement there. These small improvements. Let me tell you something. A society does not develop immediately at once. A society develops over a span of small things then that what takes that society forward. So when people believe that all the roads in the country should be paved automatically in no time, that's not how it works. It takes gradual progression for that road to be paved. This is how it works. And that's what we intend to do. Look at my little brother praising President Waka. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Hey, man. La brother up here now. Hey, Waka, thank you, ba. See the airport, ba. And you understand when you can wait for your gas, you can be busting and eating and eating. Hey, Lord, look at Waka again, ba. The Ome Pao. Who there?
Liberia is rising. It's about to say, but that small thing you're celebrating, it was there before. Cynthia Ma, welcome to the show. My sister, Tenen Cooper, welcome. Will it be Morris? Madam Morris, how are you doing, my brother? Faliku Kamara, Mr. Kamara, welcome to the show. KP Valley, thank you, ba. If I be bow, look at again when you can't wait for your people to the airport, you get embarrassed if you enjoy yourself, eating some ice cream. But I want that development again. It was there before. Look, I don't know how sometimes we play the issue of politics, but we don't understand it. It's progression of life, bro. We got to believe it. We got to celebrate it. We got to promote it. We got to demand more from the president. We got to speak it, and that self-fulfilling prophecy has to be realized in Grangita County. This is how we develop. We have to demand more from our official. Yes, indeed, Liberia is rising. Amen. The transform and plenty the conscious when you know what to do. Flomo Livingston, welcome to the show. Tracy Wright, Famata Lejima, King David Dennis, Mr. Dennis, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining the conversation. And we will continue to breathe life into Liberia because this country must meet our full potential. Liberia will get better and better, and we are not going to stop believing that our country is going to get better. But I'm going to say this to y'all. If you cannot jog, who said it's no Martin Luther King? Say, listen, man, Liberia going in from. If you cannot come to push the elevation of Liberia, if you get plane money, take the bus. If you get bus money, take the train. If you get train money, ride bicycle, take keke. If you get keke money, you must walk. If you cannot walk, you must crawl. But no matter what you do, you must come and you must help breathe life into Liberia. This is our task. Liberia will grow. And for those of you who claim that when you say Liberia is rising, that makes you a sycophant, I say woe unto you. Yeah, our former president is job for us small. We can't take anything too serious. You're welcome to the show.
How can you come here if you can run? How can you come here to see nothing? Run can kill you. Kill a man. Run can kill you. Kill a man. Hey, day. Siroga. Hey, day.
How can you come here and you cannot praise Liberia? You cannot breathe life into Liberia? Let me tell you something, and I will continue to remind people who have not heard me say this. We don't look for the bad things in our country. We look for the good things, the positivities of Liberia. We look for them and we elevate them. We promote them. That doesn't mean we don't know that in Riverside County, our people are still drinking dirty water. It doesn't mean we are unaware of that. But what we are aware of, we're going to promote the positivities of Liberia so more positivities can come to Liberia. This is our goal. Our goal is we must promote the good so more good things can happen. And if that angers you, I feel sorry for you because this country must go. And as been depicted in this photo here, in this race, Liberia not going behind again. You think I'm joking? That beyond when they carry Liberia, it will not happen again. Fange, do a little commentary.
President Mose Blatt in the country over to Ma Eli, and Ma Eli is taking the country forward. She's taking Liberia forward, and Liberia is improving. Good roads, electricity good, everything is good. Good schools, good building, and everything is going smoothly. And let's see who she's going to turn the country over to. Who is she going to turn the country over to? Or she going to Joey? Joey, where you going with the country? Joey, come back. Joseph, what go for it? Joseph, what go for the country?
Joey, I get le country bien. Joey, I get le country bien. How can you come here? Who? When you gonna get our country bien? Hey, see that legal commentary? This is a full depiction of what happened on the previous administration. We digressed. We went beyond. Far behind. We threw away 6 consecutive years. As the Bible would say, we gave it to the locusts. We gave it to the grasshopper, then to eat 6 years, all of our progression. And we say we're not going back. We must forge ahead. That reversal that was done with him, to shine that reversal that was done will no longer be repeated in this country. And we will go in front. Nothing will stop the progression of this country. And we will continue to celebrate Liberia. And for those of you who are getting mad out there, while Liberia is being celebrated, we say, yes, no more, yeah. Hey, DJ, talk to our people small. Sometimes these reminders are necessary.
One nation, indivisible. Oh, how sweet this country could be if we only rebuilt it for all of us to enjoy. We must believe that there is sufficient space to accommodate our differences and our shared experiences, that there are enough resources to supply our basic needs and cultivate our God-given talents. And so, we must narrow wide gaps between the poor and the prosperous, between the powerless and the powerful, between women and men, girls and boys, young and old, rural and urban, domestic and diasporic. Every 26th should be a moment of reflection and reckoning. Have we dared to be defiant in the previous year? Have we treated each other with civility and not cruelty? Have we upheld high standards of accountability, and that includes respecting time? Have we reduced inequality and redistributed wealth to enable everyone to thrive, not merely survive? Have we developed functioning systems that will outlive us? Have we taken full responsibility for our socio-economic transformation? My challenge to us on this Defiant Day is to build back better. My challenge to us on this Defiant Day is to build back differently.
And we will build back better, Nije. We will build back better. We must build differently. We must embrace Liberia differently. We must kiss Mama Liberia differently. We must set her head top right again. We must build back better. And part of building back better, it is putting on this full mental and this belief that we too are equally capable. Liberia is rising, y'all. Liberia will be risen from its arch like a phoenix. It will rise once again and sit in her proper place amongst the community of nations. We must build back better, stronger, and fully inclusive of all our peoples. You must embrace this country because this is our common heritage, and we will not get tired. We must not get tired. We must continue to celebrate Liberia and believe that we too are equal to the task. Liberia is rising, and I will believe this forever. Liberia is rising. President Mbaka, you must continue on this path. You must continue to double your effort because there is so much riding on this. The very survival, the very sanctity of our sovereignty relies on the leadership being exhibited right now. We want that leadership to be expanded to every single sector of our society, every corner, all the villages and towns of Liberia must feel the impact of development that is happening in Monrovia and beyond. You're welcome to the show. I want to continue to welcome Mayfield Deco. My brother is here, a.k.a. Peabody. How you doing, Mama? Akona Goto is here. Thank you so much, Tracy Wright, Priscilla Clinton, Malan Clinton, how are you doing, my sister? Everybody, from wherever you are, Liberia will grow.
I have been rehabilitated, re-assimilated, and now I'm relocated. Thank you.
Hey, Prophet Key, the man has been rehabilitated, re-assimilated, and relocated. You cause again, you going back. Prophet Key is rehabilitated, re-assimilated, and he's been relocated. I begin, no more man cause, we beg you, hold your phone. Obi, welcome home. No more cussing. The University of Liberia, the Republic of Liberia, according to my sister here, the president of the University of Liberia, let me just read a quick excerpt here from the university's page. Urgent University of Liberia official announcement by directive of the president of the University of Liberia, Dr. Lily Mapayan, UL president. All UL employees must return to work on Monday, August 17th, and begin immediate preparation for the resumption of classes on Tuesday, August 25th. The woman said, when you're not going to work, you will be persona non grata. She will cancel your services. Remember, we'll continue highlighting. If you see something around the country, you must say something. The number is there. This is for Anti-Corruption Commission in the country. You can become a whistleblower. That's 5222 calling and let them know what's happening. They are going to investigate. This is coming from there. But the asset recovery are taking some people to court. And for the sake of the radio, I'm going to read this very, very quickly before we start the show here today. Again, everybody, welcome to the show. Asset Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force, a red post. 13 defendants to face trial beginning Monday in Saudi rice case over alleged misappropriation of donated rice. Again, I'm going to apologize first. The same thing you're looking at on the screen, that's the same thing I'm looking at right now. We don't have all the teleprompters and the sophistications to make sure the things are big. I will do my best. Monrovia, Liberia. 13 defendants are expected to face trial beginning Monday, August 17, 2026, before Criminal Court C in Mozzarella County in connection with the alleged misappropriation of rights donated by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to the government of the Republic of Liberia disaster victim. You remember that rice case with the likes of Kenya? Those proceeding to trial are D. Maxwell Sakimia, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Vani A. Sharif, former Minister of Internal Affairs, Thelma Sawyer, former Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. And by the way, all these officials are under the previous administration. This is being orchestrated, and thank God nobody's screaming Wisham, because this is not Wisham. This is evidence-based, going to the court, and the court's going to decide. Let me continue. Your Thelma, former Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs for Administration, Augustine Colley, Director of Disaster Victims at the National Disaster Management Agency, Henry O. William, former Executive Director of NDMA, Edward S. Conner, NDMA employee, Archie Vigo M. Dole, MDA Communication Director, Idris Billete, former Deputy Director for Operations at the General Services Agency, Mami Davis, Assistant Director at GSA, Mobalu Johnson, former Deputy Minister for Internal Affairs for Administration, Rosetta L. Bese Boa, Logistics Officer at NDMA, Wefa Siafa, purported CEO of Group of 77, and Evelyn Wee, warehouse manager. The case stems from the donation of 29,412 bags of rice, 25 kg rice, value at $500,000 by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. You guys remember? In fact, there were a lot of rice shortages in the country, and we all know what happened. In fact, let me begin direct driving home small before I even go to the
My Liberian people. Don't watch the video up on the screen. Let's take a very good look at the video up on the screen. You see, the past government official, I told you they were very, very heartless. Very, very heartless. And you see the people standing online to buy rice? And you see the people standing online just to buy food to eat? Okay. The whole shocking part about this story is that they rest the people standing online to buy. It was given by the Saudi Arabia government to the Liberian government for free. They don't pay right for it. But yet they choose to sell the rest to the self-citizen. Moreover, they choose to sell the rest expensive. But guess what happened? I told your president, Joseph Yumon will give justice in this country, right? 13 former government officials that in charge of that rest when he keep, they will be going to court the 17th of August. Can somebody say justice? They will be going to court the 17th of August. The people heartless, oh.
And the disclaimer must come. Nobody is guilty yet. This is why they are going to the court. And this is how our society should be. If you take something from the people, an indictment is going to be drawn up if there is sufficient evidence. And you're going to go before the court and clear your name. There's nothing wrong with that. And additionally, before we start the show today, man, I want to always we recognize the radio stations. Before we even do that, I wanted to listen to Dr. Lester Tenu. She was speaking about some officials that works for LU. These people, they constantly think the government just got money lying around. Let's listen to Dr. Tenu before we start the show.
Every time you blackmail government, we want 40%. How many times you get 140%? How many times you requesting for 140%? Or you think government is just a place where they be vote for the money where when you may not, then they say, "Can we add money to your place?" You already working 4 or 5 different places. Your friend who not working, you keeping them from being employed because you occupying the space on the payroll. You ain't ready. You better go for vote or no confidence is a lenient word. Go for another one. Watch and see, did Dr. Tenney. The real reason why you scared of him, you come and see it.
For society to develop, there can be no friendship in criminality. People love to say this nonsense. I know Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did say that. President Weah said the same thing. President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf said the same thing. You know, we are family. We are related. No, you are not related to a criminal that is taken from our children. I'm no relation to any government official that steal from our children, that steal from our federal Liberia. We are not related. They must face the consequences. In Liberia for a very long time, one of the reasons why we have not developed, because we do not consequence people for their actions. I don't care if the consequences are punitive in nature or if it's compensatory. Something has to be done for people to be discouraged from doing bad things into the country. Again, before we start the show here, man, as always, I want to always recognize you guys from across the country. Adolphus Elliott, thank you for coming in here. We know I think today the president visited the information ministry and they did a little video of what the information ministry used to be. Let's watch it just very, very briefly before we start the show here today.
It was nasty, very nasty, not painted. The first thing that you sense when you enter an office like that was some level of depression. And I was not prepared to stay longer time in that depression. So from day one, I committed that we needed to do something to change it. And so we started having been faced with the gloomy picture we inherited, depressed as we were, the nasty looking building, empty offices without equipment to work with, a demotivated staff.
The full video is actually on the Executive Mansion website, the Ministry of Information website. Sometimes when we tell people the place we're coming from, an entire ministry was like a pig pen. Nasty, dirty, filthy. If you see some of the picture from these ministries, from the government agencies across Liberia, I want you to go there today. And when we say Liberia is rising, somebody get there and say, why you must say Liberia rising? Because we coming from place where we were smelling living in dumper in government ministries. Liberia is rising. Liberia will continue to rise. And if anybody gets angry because we say Liberia is rising, we say, no, my yeah. no ma. But we're not going to stop because we know where we're coming from. I want to big shout out to the information ministry for really elevating that ministry and most of all the ministries across the country. A lot of work has to be done. I want to recognize the radio stations, man. I did see Classic FM at Margibi live. Thank you guys for always being on time, Classic FM. We really appreciate you for that. Big shout out to Radio Margibi, the Kakata Margibi County. Our brothers way out there in Lofa County, Voice of Lofa. You're welcome for being here. Peace FM out of Habel, Radio Kwatike out of Bangabon County. Thank you for relaying the show. Equally so, Ablige Radio in Grand Bassa County. Welcome to the show, you guys in Bassa. Thank you for joining us. Premier FM out of Bangabon County. Welcome Radio Gompa, way out there in Ganta, Nima County. Radio Yalimba out of Seklepi, Nima County. Top FM out of Zwedru is also here and present. Radio Sando, way in Greenville, Sando County. Smile FM, also in Zwedru, Greenville County. Radio Buto, the ever-present Radio Buto is always here. Trust FM out of Bomi County. We say thank you for relaying the show out there in Western Liberia. Punch FM out of Morovia. Bourgeois Radio in Morovia, DC 101. And I'm going to thank all the radio stations, man, for always elevating the issue of Liberia. Joseph Tupa, Emilia Curtis, welcome to the show. Charles Eto Smith, how are you doing, mama? Everybody, man, thank you. You're kind of tall Liberia. This country will get better. Yes, indeed, Liberia is rising, and we must believe this. We must work towards this. We must pray about this. We must push this. But in everything we do, we must not forget that this country must rise and we must do the work to make sure Liberia continues to climb and take a proper place. Yo, welcome to the show, yo.
Class Reloaded, the #1 online show that brings the truth. Showcasing JNB and JKK progress all across the country.
The Class Reloaded, we are online every day. Showcasing progress the Liberian way.
Well,
JMB and JKK, they're making the way. The Class Reloaded, we're shining today.
From Morovia City to the other counties, development talk shake the country. We talk the truth, we don't lie. The rescue mission making people smile. Roads getting better, schools better, electricity stable, no more hoping. We see the change, we see the light. Unity Party doing things right. Who talk the facts?
The Class Reloaded.
Who bring the vibe?
The Class Reloaded.
Support development.
The Class Reloaded.
Who better arise again?
Oh yes we can.
Who talk the facts?
The Class Reloaded.
Who bring the vibe?
The Class Reloaded.
Support development.
The Class Reloaded.
Who better arise again?
Oh yes we can. The Class Reloaded, we are online every day.
Every day.
Showcasing progress the Liberian way.
Well, JMB and JKK, they're making the way. The Class Reloaded, we shining today. Turn up the sound, let the people dance. Liberia progress, we get the chance. No fake news, we bring the proof. The Class Reloaded, always in the booth. From social media to the street corner, everybody talking about the new order. Respect to the hosts, they keeping it real. Liberia future, that's the deal. The Class Reloaded,
Truth.
Liberia rising,
Progress.
JMB and JKK,
Develop.
the rescue mission, we move soon.
The Class Reloaded.
True.
Liberia rising.
Progress.
JMB and JKK.
Develop, the rescue mission, we move soon.
Yo, thank you plenty. Thank you so much for popping in here. Let me move this stuff from the screen real quickly. And I want to welcome everybody from across the country. People get mad because here Liberia is rising. I don't know why they're getting mad. Um, and at the end of the day, we have to always focus on Liberia. But I want to dwell on that topic a little bit. On the issue of Liberia is rising, why would that make anybody mad if you're in the opposition? Now, if you counter my argument that I say Liberia is getting better or Liberia is rising and that angers you, and you come with a counterpoint, and that counterpoint explains why Liberia is not getting better, it is a valid point and we can have the discussion. But if you're saying by me saying Liberia is rising and it just takes you off for no reason whatsoever because you say Liberia is rising, I don't understand the argument. Here's the argument that somebody tried to make. And I'm going to say this. If your argument is take a dirt road going to Grand Jita County, that is not a valid argument. The argument is in the middle of the rainy season, it took a week or sometimes 2 weeks to get to Zwedru Grand Jita County. Now it takes you 9 hours. Yes, it is still dirt road, but the road is pliable year round. How is that supposed to go ahead and you say that's not an improvement? That is a tremendous improvement from what it was before. From a week or 2 weeks to 9 hours, yes, it is still dirt road. That's an improvement. Where we had constant shortages of rice in the country, sometimes rice went as high as $6,000 in Zwedru Grand Jita County, but you can continue to buy rice in Zwedru right now for $2,600 or $2,700 LD as opposed to $6,000, and you tell me that it's not progress. I don't think you're playing politics. You're not playing the realism of the country. Now you can come up with the argument. People saying, "Oh, but people still suffering in the country. People still suffering in America. People suffering in Europe." What we should be concerned with is how we reduce the amount of people that are suffering in our country. It's a greater percentage in terms of per capita, the people that are suffering in Liberia as compared to America. I would concede that point. But if it's just the people suffering, it doesn't make sense. So if you told me before that we have 4 million Liberians that are suffering in the country, and right now we got 3.5 million Liberians suffering, yes, people are still suffering. But in a short span of time, if the reduction has been 500,000 people, then we have made progress. Because before we were entirely stagnated, we didn't do anything to improve the country. So nothing was done before. This progress is being made. The percentage of roads that are being paved across Liberia, look at the percentage. I may not know all of them. I will try to name some of them. The road to Bo-Wallasa, that's a 4 lane from Douala to Menikoma to Sonai, to another place in Bon County, connecting Lofa County. The percentages of roads that are being paved. In fact, I called into the Public Works Minister. We are projected to pave, I think, close to 430 kilometers of road before 2029. That is a tremendous improvement. Now, I get it. We got over 10,000 roads across the country that need paving. But look at what was there before. From 1847, or you can go back to 1822, we barely paved less than, 10% of the roads in the country. Now, in under 2 years, maybe by the time 6 years over, we might pave 15% of the roads in the country. You can say 5% paving is nothing. But I'm going to tell you this. 5% in 6 years and 10% in 168 years. You see the difference? This is what we are talking about. We're talking about gradual improvement. We're talking about the stability of the country. We were stuck at literally $500 million budget for a very long time. And we came closer to maybe $700 million budget. In under 2.5 years, the budget of the Republic of Liberia is expected to hit $1.3 billion this year. That's almost $600 million increase in the span of less than 3 years. You make the argument, well, the budget not going to the people, they're still paying salary. We can have that conversation. But you see the incremental improvement, that's what we're talking about. The penetration of electricity across the country is much more as compared to before. The penetration of water provision is actually much more. Yesterday, I spoke here. Before 2024, The entire country of Liberia, 6 million people approximately, have only 5% of water penetration, pipe-borne water penetration. 5% of the population have water, pipe-borne water. In less than 3 years, Mo Ali has taken it from 5% to 10%. You can say, but 10% is nothing. 10% is a lot. It is a lot. In under 3 years, when we only have 5% there before, since the war ended. Since the war ended back in 2003, 21 years, we only have 5%. In less than 3 years, we have add another 5%. By next year, we hit 10% penetration of water provision, pipe-borne water and penetration to the country. Yes, there are still more people in the country that don't have pipe-borne water. But I want you to look at the entirety, the totality of what is being done across the country. Some of them rubber feet, how we will contaminate the water, but we don't get water. I agree. You don't have water. I understand that. But I want you to look at the whole big thing. Yeah, some of them is the old tri-state in Monrovia. That is true. But look at what the mayor is doing. He's reducing the trash. Yeah, we all agree. The mayor should do more. Every agency should do more. But look at the progression. Every single agency is working to improve that. And what the president has done, every single month, there will be a cabinet meeting where they will sit. They say, you that are running commerce, this is what you say you're going to do last month. We're going to revisit what you have done so far. We're going to readjust, recalibrate, do new recalculations, and we'll re-strategize on your vision for the agency and how we can attain more. It's going to be measured, tracked, and readjusted every single month to get the kind of improvement that President Boycott is talking about. This is leadership. That's what I mean when I say Liberia is rising. And I have not yet even spoken about the yellow machine and whether or not they have gone into the field to produce for our people. So yes, indeed, I can quantify this, that Liberia is indeed improving. That doesn't mean they didn't get hard time in the country. That doesn't mean people now still buying reds by cup. Somebody actually made an argument. People still buying red by cup. They say Liberia improving. I leave red there. They enjoy me over fence to get it. Once again, welcome to the show, Blair. How you doing, my brother? How's everything with you?
I'm good. Dualu, good evening. You getting me right?
Yes, loud and clear.
Good evening to everyone. I'm doing good. Dualu, let me ask you a question. In America, if my daughter Fatu only she's going to ask her, she gets to in Philadelphia. Any book I go do CP there too.
Oh, but if I stop everything, if I not where everything in the horse here is CP, my car is CP, almost everything will buy CP.
Everything is CP.
Everything is CP.
The only difference is that the economics. That's all. But if you even look at it, Dualu, I am renting just 2 rooms for 1,150 euros. Okay, if that in Liberia is like 2 years, two years rent, we're talking about it. All right, but the thing here is that until these people get, most of them even understand, but they just want to peddle negative information out there, Dualu. If they cannot see, if you can sit as a person and you cannot see the transformation that is taking place in the country currently, then it is better that somebody who has a natural blindness, I pray that God heals that person, and then you go in that person's place. Because that person will be glad to see these new things that are happening. Okay? Look at what is happening in terms of governance, Dualu. I wanted to put out 2 photos today. The president walking, going at the tea house yesterday, Dualu, in the rain. But you see George, we are going and jump in the sea and pull a board down and pull in the air and then open it wide. 3 days ago, Joseph Yuma Boaka was in steering committee meetings at the MCC. The day after, the day before, he was in national security meetings. The day after, he was in steering committee meetings. Okay. Yesterday, he was in cabinet meeting. Today, he was in back to school meetings. The Ome is not sitting. He's trying to make sure that things are on track. And one of the new things he started with the finance minister is that timeline should meet timeline. If you set a project and you say this project is from August to September, it must be able to meet that projection. And one of the things I wanted to talk about is that I read, but I didn't read in detail that the national legislature have put hold on I don't know how many millions of United States dollars for the RRA highway until the company responsible for that road can appear before the national legislature. I think it's a good thing, okay? But what they should also understand is that that road need to go on is delayed a lot, and it poses threat to a lot of commuters on that road. We want a much more safety road for commuters and Liberians and foreigners as a whole to be able to travel on, because that road is the first impression to the capital. That road is the first impression to the capital. Anybody leaving the RRA, it is your very first time coming to Liberia. You go into Monrovia, the great Monrovia, one-way ticket to Monrovia, and you get a certain point. The first time, maybe somebody will tell you, oh, they are carrying on construction. But if you go and come back the second time after 4 years and that road is still there, they're going carrying on construction again. It is a disgrace to the country. So I hope all parties involved can be able to understand that projects to be able to meet the timeline, and we have to carry on other projects. We cannot be stuck up in one project. Like today, the finance minister and the health minister, they were at the New Redemption Hospital, you know, carry on some assessment. They went on a tour guide. The finance minister made some assessment, and he re-emphasized what was said in the cabinet meeting. What he said, urgency to government projects, okay? Projects that are being implemented now must be implemented. Look, Dwalu, the thing that they talk about, the quota business, Iranian project stopping Liberia, I do not understand. Here in this country, okay, even in the winter, okay, Belgium doesn't, the snow doesn't fall too much, but it's just cold and it can rain. Wet snow can fall a lot. But in the midst of that, the people are still carrying on as for construction in this country. Gideon is doing his best. But let's be able to meet those timelines before. It's not for election purposes, but the president continues before we get to 2030. It will be ending around 2029. Then he'll be able to meet at least 70 to 80% of his campaign projection. Let the Liberian people know that there's a president that can come and take over the country, and there will be no excuse after Joseph Yuma Boaka.
And logistics, that question. That Blair will answer that. That Blair will answer. I can't answer that question for Blair. Hello, my brother Abraham. Welcome to the show. Blair said I can read it. He can go there. But I agree. My brother. Look, at the end of the day, the projects, the way the president going about making sure the arrest agenda is achieved, I think he's going to get north of 80%, because what they've done, every single month he's recalibrating. Every single month he's continuing to measure. It's like any responsible corporate entity in America. Yeah, every single day we go to a corporate meeting, and you're sitting down there. Why the number is not met? Why this number is not met? What are you doing to meet this number? Why the hesitation here? The numbers, and then you recalibrate it. So the president re-strategizing every single month, and I think the president will attain this number. This number may be surpassed actually, because the budget every single year is being surpassed. That's one thing, Blair. Number two, more numbers continue to climb. If you look at the public work number, the projection and the number of roads they're going to pave continue to climb. So everything is going in accordance with plan. Now, on the issue of job provision, that's something else we got to talk about. But the president is tackling everything from every content, every angle, and it's being recalibrated continuously. And I think when the president continue today, he will achieve those. Abraham, Councilor Man, welcome to the show. Abraham, let's hear from you, my brother.
Dodo, let me say good evening to all of the panelists and including our followers and our viewers. Please share the show. Dodo, what is on my mind this evening is about the Senator, ADD, Senator Abraham Darras DeLong, about his rehab center, a rehabilitation center. It will interest our audience for them to know that when Senator Abraham Darras DeLong paid a courtesy visit today, at that site, our moon and our touch, when I carefully watched the senator interacting with those guys, it was interesting for you to know that some of these guys were taught by the current finance minister, Gaff. It was interesting for you to know that we have brilliant guys who have just been carried away by their drug addictions. And what Senator Abraham Darrell is doing, he is restoring hope. He is restoring hope in the life of many of our family members who had lost it before. So the senator is trying to restore that hope. This is the senator who does not take a penny for any one of them during the registration for them to be able to be carried to the rehab center there. They eat 3 times a day. They watch their favorite movies, and these guys have been detox for the drugs to be able to leave their system. That alone, the drugs are brought in the country by ADD because he have installed experts in those areas. So if we have like just 2 ADD, currently I also speak, ADD is thinking about opening another rehabilitation site into Buchanan. They are thinking about opening one into Bond County. And this site have been operated by the senator from his own pocket. A government is not giving this senator a penny. So this is just something because rehabilitation in detoxing our brother, it has been my passion. I have passion for that job. And that's the reason why I am doing addictions and counseling as my master. Because I found out that there have been a lot of our brothers who need to be able for them to be able to go back home and be able to volunteer their services. If we look at some of these sisters who graduated just this gone graduation, some of the sisters were already hopeless, but the center restored hope. We saw the video clips. So what Senator ADD is doing, he has just won my heart. This is just for me to be able to tell you, thank you. Thank you, Senator. You are not just win my heart, you have also won the heart of our sisters, our mothers, our fathers, who lost hope in the time past. So, there's a need that we be able to come here someday for us to be able to discuss some of the impact that ADD have made. Let us be able to look at the library. Moreover, has ever been, we have not had a public library for the long periods of time. So for a senator to be able to build a modern library for the people of Masurado, not just that, for the entire country, because when you are residing in the country and you be able to go there for you to be able to do your research, that library will not be able to just serve people of Masurado, it will be able to serve the people of the country. So let me take this time and be able to tell the senator, thank you. Thank you ever so much for you being able, for you to look in the directions of our brothers and sisters who thought that life was not important no more. But you bringing life, you bringing hope to them. I want to tell you thank you.
Thank you, my brother Abraham. Thank you so much, Councilor Man. Welcome to the show. Councilor Man, let me ask you a question while you tie into your intro if you can. If somebody says Liberia is getting better, why would that anger anybody if the evidence shows just that? Welcome.
Thank you, Dwalu, and let me say good evening to Abraham and Albert, and to you, Dwalu, and all the people listening around the world, watching us and listening around the world. It's good to be here again, especially in Liberia. Dwalu, I know how to answer that your question. So the people getting better, he's also ask. The thing is simple. We're gonna put him on for him to be better. So people have been used to the spoil system. And there are two things. One, for a long time, there's some Liberians who have been used to the spoil system. You remember the last time I said that, some of our people all along, since as far back as you can imagine, all they've ever thrived on is confusion, chaos, cause confusion, survive through it, jump on this side, jump on that side. So these people are not used to anything getting better or progressing for Liberia. The second group of people are people who had an opportunity and did not make the kind of marked improvement. They have abused that opportunity. And now they see somebody making that opportunity, making strides, building Liberia forward. And for them, it has closed every gap for them to even think about governance anymore. So they will always try to look for the negative. And there's just some Liberians who perpetually want to live in the negative. So it is up to them. I think the rest of the people who believe that Liberia is getting better will determine that for themselves. Those old ladies in Bapolu who now have running water in their homes, those people who now see the electricity along the highways in Riversets, in Sino, in Grand Jide, in all those places, they will determine whether Liberia is getting better for them. People who now cost of living in the southeast is reduced drastically. Transportation has reduced drastically. When people used to take pretty close to 20,000 Liberian dollars, and let me say 20,000 Liberian dollars is almost about 125, 130 US dollars. When people used to take that amount just to leave from Grand Cru to go to Monrovia, and now they can pay about 5 or 6,000 instead of 20,000 and save the rest of the money and do something, and they can go as frequently as they want. They will determine whether things are getting better for them. So gone are the days when the rest of the country was so closed. People couldn't get to the southeast. People couldn't get to the northern part of Liberia. People couldn't get to the western part of Liberia. It was difficult for people to go all parts of Bapolu, Bomi. Some part of Bomi people couldn't go. The roads were bad. People couldn't go to the southeast. So whenever people from Monrovia come, whatever they tell them, that's what they believe. Now people can see for themselves. You see with their own eyeball. So if you tell them that nothing is happening and not getting better, it is them to decide. All right. So let the people who believe that Monrovia is all for them sit in Monrovia or sit abroad, because some of them are abroad.
Most of them
decide that they will decide for Liberian people what is happening, what is good and what is not good. So that's that. So that's to answer your question. I don't know if I answered adequately, but that is to answer your question, Balu. But I wanted to open today Friday. I was thinking since this day, a couple of people just came to my mind and it really hurt in my head. You get some stubborn people in Liberia and it really hurt in my head. And sometimes I don't know how to get these people out of my head today. The first person that Muali. That boy, someone away, he gets stubborn, and I don't know why he can be giving him Samuel Jackson. I'm a puppy there, I'm a friend, so it can be hard for me to talk in that team, but more too stubborn. I need to tell Mo that you gotta respect the old man. That old man. I mean, a 74-year-old old man. He not see plenty things in life. You still young boy, so you gotta reduce your level of stubbornness towards him. The second person is Daniel Sano. I mean, hey, I'm yet to one small AK-47 say coming fight. I mean, Daniel go in the cover. They meant bazooka. It LAR. It BZT. What happened now? Somebody just come to the wall from AK-47. Daniel tell all the BBT. Daniel, I beg you, don't use the tomahawk and the ballistic. Just keep it. I beg you. You think all right, eh? That man will get taking small thing. Daniel vest. Daniel will stop thing now. He taking all the BB gun and just putting it outside. Tell him, let him keep some of the ammunition. The man come back in. He finish, let him keep on. Before he start using tomahawk and the rest of them, I beg him, Daniel. Because that when you read ready, say to be continued, don't continue. I beg you, holy, yeah, holy. And then the other person who too stubborn in that country there too, and getting under the people's skin that the Leicester turning there. You know, let me make it a bit first to that LU. You know, they may make it a bit first to that LU there. You just let's not turn it just someone away. What you just do? Then you get one. I know that well woman. I know she passed through Grand Croix, the put pepper on nose, and she was growing or something like that. Then you get a body who get hired two of them. They decide to say, okay, these people then will be on the case. Let's not turn it just high, and then they say the people don't go to work on Monday. Things will start happening. Yeah. But you know, I say all this to say that we got people, all these people who stubborn like this, they're stubborn for a reason and for a cause. And they have come to say that Liberia can no longer be the same as we always used to see it, and that there needs to be a change. And so, you know, I think that in as much as it is on the lighter note, but I'd like to commend the president of the University of Liberia for all that she's doing. The university carrying our call is it Dr. My problem. So says she's the problem. Let her be allowed to be the problem. But I like the thing she said she ain't going nowhere. See, she ain't got a dream job. She ain't going nowhere. Yeah, I showed you that somebody would tell you as the visitor to the university, I think he carrying a woman anywhere. Then she go put Leicester 10 in the air. So I just asked those professors, those intelligentsias, those people who say they are well schooled, that look, no matter what the grievance is, use your knowledge, your power of your brain to sit on the negotiation table. The University of Liberia has suffered too long. When somebody tried to put it on the right track to gain international recognition, look, Balu, I was watching a documentary of some interview on Facebook, some Ghanaian ladies, they were being interviewed. And one of the ladies was telling me how Liberia used to be almost like a paradise. She said today, people going to China, to Turkey and things to buy goods. She said in the late 70s and early 80s, the Liberia people were coming to buy all that in there.
I saw that.
Everything you wanted was in Liberia. Yeah. She said everything you wanted was in Liberia. The Liberia are coming to do all the shopping. People used to leave from different parts of the world to come to our University of Liberia to come to school. Today, I don't know what is happening. Since people believe that demonstration, rioting, all those things are the way to go, but those things have never given us anything. They've never done any good for us, only set us backward. And so I'm appealing to the faculty and the staff of the University of Liberia to kindly heed to the circular and go back to work on Monday. And I'm also appealing to Dr. Mapayam that if these people decide to stand their ground and they don't come, please don't shut down the university. If you find people to do the work, they'll find people to do the work. That means they don't want work. They don't go take their professorship to other, and they get plenty university. They go to Nima County University there. They go other places, university there. But please don't shut it down. Let our brothers and sisters get an education. So, Dwalu, that's my opening I have for today.
Thank you so much. And I did not announce to you guys that we're on the other page that I don't have control over. Those pages are small. So I'm just keeping 2 pages up for now, which is the Class Reloaded and the YouTube page is live. So if you're on the other page before, you can transfer to one of those pages. The other 2 pages, I can't have your cutscene when I don't have control over that. But before we go forward today, I'm going to start with you, Abraham, because Blair, you went to the University of Liberia too, right? Okay, so let's listen to Lester Tenney, because for me, I don't really understand when he was talking about this 40% thing. Maybe you guys can chime in before we go to the meat of the subject tonight. Let's listen to Lester Tenney. I'll come to you first, Abraham. Let's listen for about 40 seconds.
Every time you blackmail government, we want 40%. How many times you get 140%? How many times you requesting for 140%? Or you think government is just a place where they be vote full of money, where when you make no, then they say, we add money to your place? You already working 4 or 5 different places. Your friend who not working, you keeping them from being employed because you occupying the space on the payroll. You ain't ready. You better go for vote or no confidence is a lenient word. Go for another one. Watch and see, did Dr. Tenney. The real reason why you scared of him, you come and see it.
Thank you so much, Abraham. Let me ask you a question because I've heard this before, but I've not fully understood it. I was under the impression that the university sets a pay standard based on the person's tenure at the university and that the pay you're going to get. But I've heard people constantly talk about these 40% increments that sometimes these professors request from the university. And sometimes they will say, if you don't give us the money, we're not going to teach. And they just come up and just state that. Is that true, or is that something that happens at the university, Abraham?
Brother, that is actually true. When the university have been carving a system where as you become a professor, but librarian professor, that they don't write book, they don't publish, they just say they just receive the doctorate degree from outside. Some of them will not see their work. So the university have a standard. So, but for every president that come to power, they want 40%. Every president that comes, they want 40%. So that what Dr. Lester Tenney is asking, how many 40% do they want? If they want to increase their salary, this president, another president coming, they want to increase their salary again. So they just want to keep increasing their salary until it reaches to the mountain top. And that is what Dr. Lester Tenney is against. And that is a state-run university. So for the virtue of fact that if you call yourself professor, if you call yourself a doctor, and you are a professor, you sort of publish. There should be a publication.
Research.
A research publication that been made by you. But this guy, they just go sit on a beer table that they own a publication there. And that is what Dr. Lester Tenney is preaching against. And let me tell them something. If they are not seeing a high-hitter prof like Dr. Lester Tenney, let them go ask about him very well. Dr. Lester Tenney is no nonsense Brabi, he's no nonsense big brother. So for me, I am very much glad that our university will be able to reach at this point wherein they will be able to tell the brothers that are teaching to other universities, look, you cannot be a full-time employee at two places. That is not just possible. And that is why that our brothers and our sisters are doing at our university. How can you be 70 years old, 60 years old? So some of them, they are reached at the age of retirement. But still, they are saying that no, they want to be employed by the university full-time. And as you listen to GSC report, GSC came out with 200 and some more prof that's supposed to be retired. But for them, some of them, they still working with stick and they still go in a classroom. When they enter in a classroom, they sit down. They sit down and they be teaching from where they have sat. So that is what that Dr. Lester Tenney is preaching against. And I 100% back that. And I think that there's a need that we'll be able to bring the dad here, for him to be able to tell us, some of the progress that some of his intention that he have for the university. We have been suffering for so long that our university have been suffering. Can you imagine retail time university open one semester a year? This lady is trying to bring a trimester, and then the people there are against it. Every time they want increasement.
Thank you. And Blair, let me come up to you. The University of Liberia, I know there's an exception to this rule. Nothing is absolute. I want to see, for instance, if you're a sociology professor, I want to see your research, your publication on social issues in the country. If you're in the health science field and malaria is rampant in Bangabong County, I want to see the research from Bangabong County and the publication stating why mosquitoes are somewhere and how can we address it. We don't see any one of those from the university professors. Given the amount of paperwork, given the amount of work you have to correct every single day, or some of the teaching material you have to prepare, it is not possible for a so-called professor to teach at 2, 3 different universities. So we are literally giving our children substandard information that they're supposed to have based on what some of these professors are doing now. Nobody will call this show and tell me, "Oh, Dwalo, you think you know more than the professor?" That's not what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. If you choose to become a professor, you will be the best possible professor you can be. If I choose to become a talk show host, I got to fight to become the best possible talk show host that I can be. If I criticize what you're doing, it doesn't mean I can do it better than you, but you've chosen that profession. So, in like, bro, we need to stop this. So, Blair, let me ask you, what time the man will start doing some research in the field? If you're teaching biology, we won't see some information. Maybe that one day we'll be able to teach 15 different places.
Dwalo, are there the same faces book that some other men were using also when entered the University of Liberia 2001 that it is still using today? And these are the people who are calling for 40%. That 40% thing is never going to stop until there's a major reform in that country. Dwalo. Set the pay grade. You employ new people, they come on a pay grade. I was surprised the other time I saw one of my comrades. The man have become who is calling these people professor? Who gave them the title professor? So in Liberia now, that's how substandard our education has become. Because even we ourselves, when we were there, TA, we used to call them prof. You go in high school, they call them people prof. But the fact of the matter here is that, Dwalo, I think what is happening, there have been too much leniency and they have become a culture at the University of Liberia. The faculty have always used students as a means to agitate against administration to meet that demand, because they know that when they put the trucks down, the students will get in the street. But I don't know why this culture have continued amongst the student community for a very long time, that they themselves, they cannot think. The thing is that teaching at the University of Liberia is not a birthright. It's not a birthright. You can have somebody teaching accounting at the University of Liberia. Okay. And the problem about it is so frustrating. You're doing 001 accounting, okay, which is a non-credit. I don't know if they have changed that thing. That the lesson thing they need to change that thing. You can go and spend whole 1 or 2 semesters, because you pay for that course, 001 accounting, and that's 0 credit hour. Okay. So you have some of these professors, they're teaching at the University of Liberia, they're teaching at EMEU, they're teaching at EMEZU. They have to go between 3 to 4 universities that day. It didn't mean able to spend the 1 hour or the 1 hour they supposed to spend in the class. They do not do it. But at the end of the day, they want salary increase. But I think the system, those who have presided over the system, have been much more lenient, because they didn't want students to agitate too much. But what I'm seeing from the president now, I think that there will be a major reform. And one good thing I heard from Lester Tenney is that the finance minister have asked him to streamline the payroll.
That's right.
So they must get ready. Lester Tenney is a radical. Lester Tenney is a radical.
He's not a radical. He's just doing the right thing.
Yeah, they themselves, they are radical. Let's see who radicalism is going to surpass the other, because you can't look. AMEU students are going to school in a civilized manner. AMEZU, civilized manner. Okay, they put into that brother problem the one Stephen Johnson in. Okay, as slim and tiny as he was, the man would just jump on up and say, "I come with the whole system hostage." And I mean, you see, it's Stephen Johnson, Mo Ali. These are the people that brought that culture. And they made that culture at the University of Liberia. Trump flyer all over the place. Or find one kind of class. Then go low. You see Stephen Johnson jumping from other place. The man walk inside, the breeze one throw in there. Then the man go and he said, "And ATU here, and ATU here." by security intelligence is even more than the state security. Then you see them, they start, and all that thing Stephen Johnson used to talk that they picking and doing today. So Stephen Johnson is supposed to go back on that campus. More Ali is supposed to go back on that campus and rehabilitate those beginners, because in that soup, I think they have a script there because they can do classes. I think they have a script there that everybody who come at that University of Liberia, once you join that party, you have to go for that cadre class. And they see where my brother behaved yesterday, how they begin to behave today, because they allow the faculty to use them to go against central administration. In our time, it was even much more bad because we were under the chancellor administration. They brought talking about one semester, so now we used to go one semester after 1 year before we go back to school. That's how it worked. Until the Papa came, he started the trimester system at the University of Liberia. That was prepared some of us to even leave, and some of us they said we now used to get money. After one semester, we'll go Yekeba, we'll go sell fish. After one semester, we'll miss the other semester, we'll come back. So even all when we left from there, even more at the other all when we left from there. So there should be a reform at the University of Liberia. You can't call the University of Liberia the country's highest institution of learning in terms of government schools, and you still having people acting primitive, even instructors. If you don't want to serve the University of Liberia, it's not your birthright. You can just leave and they can find another instructor to hire. But everybody calling themselves prof, even some guys that did myself, even went at the University of Liberia, they are not even left Liberia to go and do masters. Because mama, they're calling them prof. I saw one of them OKFM the other day talking too much. The man, I even got the master in economics. But the man demanding on the radio. You imagine that kind of a thing? It's sad. So, because the man, people like y'all need to go back. Move and
so what do I in there?
Go back, go to that's exactly.
But you from UL too?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't. I know I did not go to the university.
I
I entered the university, but I even spent 3 months there. Then the war hit Liberia and Monrovia, so we chilly.
Yeah.
So but I didn't stay there. But you see, again, as I said, that's Liberia. That's what we look for, and that's what we get. And no, some people say that more than carry. They say, in fact, TC said more than married there. They just continue. they married there. So
but you see, more used to be the kind one. More used to be on the football tree.
But that's team where they hire me with skinny.
That's Stevie. That Stevie used to tell Chancellor. That Stevie used to tell Chancellor, I give you 15 million or else I'll hold the whole government hostage.
Okay.
By that ATU coming to campus,
so that comes to you, Councilor Ma. And my brother Ravia George, when I think about radical, maybe that military man thinking, nobody in Liberia over on our university campus is radical. The people we describe as radical are people that want to do the right thing. That's what I mean by Honorable Lester Tenor is not radical. Because wanting to do the right thing in Liberia is usually perceived as being radical. When somebody not come to work and you're a professor and the guidelines say the first time they suspend you for 30 days and the person actually does that. The second time, maybe they reduce your from 10-year professor to down to 1. This is hypothetical. The third time they fire you and they actually follow that guideline, you call that person a radical. You call that person an administrator. They're not a radical in my book. Councilor Man, welcome, sir. Your take on this Lester Taylor thing, I know you began talking about it.
No, I think I spoke about it. I think this is, as I said, I think that there need to be a rethinking, not only about the University of Liberia, but the entire higher education model for Liberia, the rethinking of the higher education model of Liberia. Today I was reading and listening to some of the issues that are going on in some other countries, especially with scholarships and all that, the scholarship program that countries like Ghana run. Now they are going back to rethink these whole processes on looking at a 10 to 15 year development plan. How do you build your human resources from now to that time? What kind of concentration you need? Like I said before, Dwalu, is that I don't get it. Look, there have been student radicals all over the place. I remember we entered the University of Ghana in 1994 for the September 1994 for the 1994-95 academic year, because the academic year begins in that time in September, where the people here will call fall. That's when the academic year begins. And by the time we had gone about 3 months into the school first semester, the faculty decided to go on strike. When they stayed 2 days on strike, the students decided to join them and disrupted school. And the handbook for the university says that if the school is closed due to these kinds of strike or unrest for 3 consecutive days, the president of the country should shut it down. So the only thing I tell and people don't think they got radical people. If people who know the University of Ghana, they get the vandals, the vandals from the Commonwealth Hall. You get stubborn people like I was in Mensa Saba Hall, the stubborn people like that, and we went demonstrating and all that, and the school president Jerry John Rawlings that time decided to shut down the university. So we thought that was a joke. The man said they didn't catch any student from the University of Ghana City going to any other university to disrupt class. That time you will know what didn't put water in coconut. So we thought it was a joke. 1 month, this university can't open. 2 months, can't open. Our friend are going to school, learning syllable. When we reach 3 months, we the student and we went to the faculty, to the vice chancellor, to the faculty, we start begging the president. Ronnie said, you're not opening that school. So I mean, close the school for 1 academic year. We have to 1 academic year. Jerry Rawlings said, you're not opening that school. As anybody in that time who went to the University of Ghana, we sat in the university for 1 academic year. We didn't go to school.
Consequence.
Wow. He always told us, he said, other people will be learning. Yesterday, the same you won't go to school, you won't go, you'll be rioting and demonstrating. Your friend will be learning, you'll be sitting there. And nobody can transfer. Once you got University of Ghana on your record, you can't go nowhere. So you sit at home. All of you put everybody into it. We had to take the Council of State, what they call the Council of State, the elders in Ghana, to go and beg. From that day, people can do the things, they can agitate, the teachers can talk about their pay, but they can never shut down. They can never close from that day.
Man understand. Man understands one thing.
So the thing I'm saying is that people now get to use the power of their brains, the power of negotiation, their ability to sit on the table and jaw. Because to whose detriment when you shut down the school? And like the president of the university said in her interview, she said, look, the government cannot do all for this university. This university needs benefactors. They need donors. We all know, some of us who come abroad, we know that the great Harvard University, the benefactor, the kind of people who gave them money, the people who gave them money, I mean, they're not everything they didn't even get it. The government
endowment billion. I give money to my universities every year.
Yes.
Listen.
And she says,
talk about donors, talk about public institutions in America.
Boy, what be had here?
She coming.
I drive home. Sorry. I gotta do it.
And I'm back off. And she said that, but who want to put their monies and support an institution that every time there's stoppage, every time you go to school, 1 month you close for 3 months, you come back for another 1 month you close for 2 months, you come back for. She says, how do you do that? Like somebody said in our trail, that's true. Dr. Ben Roberts came try to open a trimester system. Why? So that they catch up. They didn't like that one again. They drove him away. Every president comes to the university to drive them away. She came and started the same thing and started even vacation school so that, and she said that's even good thing for the so-called professors, because when you teach during the vacation school, you still get paid so that the students can catch up, because some of the students have been in the university too long. But yet, as Lester says, people benefited from the spoil system so much that they don't want it to change. You are double dipping. You are working 2 places in government itself. Choose one. You don't want to choose one, but you want to be adding your pay up with 40% every time. It doesn't happen that way. All right. You also say you full-time to the University of Liberia, but you full-time also to AMEU. you full time to AMEZU, you full time to UMU. What time you can plan your lessons? What time you can even look at the people? And she said that university education is not only about the number of people you put out, it is the quality that you put out there.
Exactly.
We need to start putting out quality at the university. And the lady says she wants to bring the University of Liberia back to the level where it was on par with other universities because Liberia had a status before. People left different countries to come to the University of Liberia to go to school. Today, again, we are going through the same thing. And so she's giving them the ultimatum to come to school on Monday, to start classes. All right? If you have grievances, come to the table, but be working while you are negotiating. You can't sit at home, and the time you sit at home, you say they will pay you for that time you're taking strike. Who pays you for not working? Who pays you for not working? You say you're going on strike. All right? And people don't know in the decent work, even in the civil service standing order. If you have grievances, you need to go through there's a channel, even for private companies. If you send your grievances and you can meet upon the book before you go for strike, you got to notify the Ministry of Labor.
Exactly.
You got to approve it because that means all the avenues to amicably solve this thing has failed. All right, but people don't do it. They get a call strike and everybody go sit at home. It's illegal. But that thing is that's what they've used all the time to hold government hostage, to hold the university authority hostage. Then they say we pass vote of no comment, and so she should leave. What is she leaving for? What wrong has she done? All right, what wrong has she done? Oh, she bring your own people, appoint your own people. Yes, she said I come with a vision. I need people. I need to identify people who will make sure my vision is accomplished.
Exactly. That's
I need to help me make my vision accomplished. So what is wrong with that? Does that harm you? No, it doesn't harm you. It makes your working condition better. But we don't want it because we are used to the spoil system. That is what, Valu, when you started today, that is what you were talking about. That people don't see the good because they are used to the spoil system. The good thing is making people uncomfortable. I was reading the front page Africa today, talking about the president signing autonomous bill for port autonomy bill when we're fighting drug. So when we're fighting drug, the country might not run. Everybody must stand on step. Fighting drug.
At the same time.
So because
Ambrose, can I come
yes,
in?
go ahead.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. There's two things. One, what you see happening at the university is a legacy of our progressive uncles. This is something that we have to uproot. This idea that when you have a grievance, you burn, you slash and burn and destroy everything. You get small grievance, you pull out an atomic bomb and explode. That is not the way to progress. It has never been the way to progress anywhere. That's one. The second thing is, I wanted to come in because you mentioned the port autonomy bill. I'm very much against it from a public policy perspective. And I've been very clear on this issue. I'm actually disappointed that this was signed. What the ports are already decentralized. We have a small country, 5 million people, and we got 4 ports. What we need to be doing is coordinating and equipping those ports with resources under a single regulatory authority. It goes back to the same thing I said yesterday about the universities. Everybody wants to have their own university with their own board of directors, their own president. Another legacy of our uncles. And at the end of the day, it makes no sense economically. They're not even looking at the logistics of it. They're focused on political clout. This is being driven by politicians who want, like, rights, to make the public feel that they're doing something. Yeah, I got us our own port. You don't have your own country. You are part of Liberia. But they want talking points. Everybody focus on 2029. They want their constituencies. Hey, they want got us our own port all day, but they're not thinking about deregulation and how that makes us vulnerable to drug cartels. We're fighting to regulate our coast with collective resources is difficult. Then you want to fragment and divide our collective power into smaller, less potent, less powerful units that cannot stand alone economically or on the level of security anywhere in the world that will tell you this is wrong. Only Liberia, we follow political leads. We follow the needs of politicians, not the needs of the constituents. This doesn't create more jobs. It deregulates and creates vulnerability. We have gone through every feasibility study. We have explained this to the Liberian people from a public policy perspective. Nobody wants to listen to policy experts in maritime. Nobody wants to listen to policy experts in the transportation and logistics sector. They only want to listen to our politicians who are not experts at any of those things, clearly do not consult experts as they should. And because on the surface it sounds nice, oh, it's so nice, everybody get their own port, everybody get their own university, it's not about what is right for the country and what's right for the citizens. We need to understand when we have certain limitations in understanding things, and we need to research or consult before we make these kinds of decisions. We're in the middle of a battle of the life of Liberia over drug cartels using very things like ports and logistics potentially to move their wares. Who's been sponsoring this bill 5 times? Have you ever asked the question who's been sponsoring this bill financially? Why is it that we can't figure these things out? Things that for me are so obvious. You have lawmakers, Honorable Banks from Grand Bassa County raised an alarm, and Honorable Banks said, wait a minute, why are they saying this thing passed through the House? I've never seen this bill. It's been coming through like a barn owl in the night, silent and stealthily. We don't know where it's coming from. Why are they shoving this down our throats at such a vulnerable time? If I didn't know better, I would tie all of this. No wonder they're suspicious that it's potentially tied to the cartel. How is this progress? And nobody that understands port logistics will ever tell you this is the right thing to do. These guys had sponsored people last year to go on Spoon and talk pile of rubbish. We dismantled their arguments because we come to defend our country, not our politicians. We come to defend our fellow citizens, not our politicians. And until Liberian people start to do the right thing for that country, we will talk. We will talk. Not because in Unity Party that everything that the Unity Party Alliance does, I will be clapping. Why are we going to keep spreading ourselves thin and weakening ourselves as a country? Talking about we decentralizing. That's not decentralization, that's fragmentation. That's divide and weaken. So Porter Buchanan now will have its own regulatory body. How does that work with all of the international IMO laws we've been signing since I was at Maritime? All of those treaties are based on our current structure. Now they're weakening that system. We're going to lose so much position. We're going to lose so much authority and things that we've worked for more than 15 years because somebody wanted a port for political reasons and didn't care about all of the work that's been done over the last decade and a half to 2 decades to put Liberia in good standing with the International Maritime Organization, because ports and maritime are part of the same unit, the same. I'm sorry, I'm just getting myself all worked up. Let me calm down. Ports and the maritime sector are all part of the same maritime umbrella. It's all part of our maritime domain. When you touch one regulation somewhere, it affects things elsewhere. None of that was considered. We made a point-by-point example of why this was a problem, and it still was pushed through. What is their motive and who is behind it and for what purpose? The only thing I can see is that it's about elections. They're eyeing 2029. Then they will go and stand up and say, we the ones who brought autonomy to the ports. How does that benefit the people in Grand Bassa? It doesn't. Then the next thing they're going to make up stories and make up inflated economic projections, and we're going to create 1 million jobs, and they're going to make up all these stories that are not feasible. Instead of us strengthening our regulatory system, this is what we've chosen to do.
Dwalu, let me say this because I mentioned it. I've not seen the nitty-gritty of the port autonomy bill, right? But I have extensively followed and have participated in seminars held as it works in Nigeria. I have followed and studied the Ghana Shippers Council also as it works in Ghana. And I'm 100% in favor of autonomizing the ports. I disagree with Carl, but until we get into the nitty-gritty of the bill itself, but I believe that it is relevant and is very necessary for Liberia. As a matter of
even Nigeria and Ghana that you mentioned, when they made that error, they have reversed it. So what are you talking about?
They have not.
Let me get to where I'm going. I will show you.
Carl, you don't have in Ghana, you don't have one port authority that runs all the ports. The port of Tema is run separately from the port of Takade. They don't have one management that run all the ports.
Management is different. Listen, management is different from regulatory. Adam, let me clarify something. Hold on, Ambrose. First of all, you and I are not talking about the same thing. You're talking about management. I'm talking about regulatory bodies.
I'm talking about but the law has regulatory body.
No, Ambrose, don't do that. That's not Ambrose. This is something that I've worked and lived for many years. Don't tell me that that Ghana and Nigeria have separate regulators. Management is not regulation. It's not law.
They don't have separate regulators. I told you that Ghana is regulated by the Ghana Shippers Council. Nigeria is regulated by the Nigeria Shippers Council. Those are the regulatory bodies. But the ports
NPA is our regulatory body.
Just for the sake of clarity, that Ambrose complete his
Ambrose is talking about something he's not.
But then you complete his thought, I will give you a chance to counter.
That's not true.
NPA is our regulatory body, Ambrose.
Call, that's not. Look, Call. Let me tell you.
You said not true. You said NPA now a regulatory body.
We got to clarify. I understand your feeling over this thing, Cole. But if
Ambrose still have separate management.
I understand that. We got to get it one at a time. Yeah.
Our ports, in fact, currently in Liberia, our port doesn't have a regulatory body.
That's not true. Why would you say that?
Which is
the National Port Authority is the regulatory body.
The National Port Authority is the port itself. It's the Free-Port of Monrovia.
No, it's not. The Free-Port of Monrovia has a separate manager from the Port of Buchanan, from the Port of Greenville, and the Port of Harper. What are you saying?
Who manages the Free-Port of Monrovia?
Are you serious, Ambrose? You could sit on the national platform and you don't know that each port has its own manager?
Free-Port of Monrovia, Call.
Oh my God. Ambrose, I'm driving. There's a step.
No, that's why I want us to go one at a time.
I'm driving, so I'm gonna mute. But Ambrose,
who manages the Free-Port of Monrovia?
It's not Sekou Dukle.
Okay, let Ambrose lay his basis.
National Port Authority. He's the managing director. It's the regulatory body. If you don't know how Liberia is structured, how can you have an opinion on this?
The management of the National Port Authority
does not manage the
guys, we are not going to get anywhere if we don't talk one at a time. You got to wait, let you lay the basis. You will get enough time to
I'll pause. Let me get to where I'm going. This is embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Basis, you will counter a call. Go ahead, Ambrose.
You see, Dwalu, I believe the intent of the framers of establishing the National Port Authority was supposed to be the national regulatory body, independent. And then it was supposed to evaluate and set the standard and the criteria for which different ports will be established. Along the line, and even today, the management of the National Port Authority runs the day-to-day affairs of the Free-Port of Monrovia. They do all the business with all the APM terminals, all the people at the Free-Port of Monrovia. Unless you tell me the Free-Port of Monrovia, and I challenge them to tell me that the Free-Port of Monrovia have a separate management outside the NPA. It's not true. The NPA was supposed to be that body. All right. So now it is the NPA that even the port in Buchanan is not autonomous of the NPA. It is not autonomous of the NPA. All right. So now it is what the law seeks to fix, and that's what's supposed to happen. I don't believe that automatically they're going to take the port of Sino or the port of Harper automatically becomes autonomous, because you see, there are certain standards you must meet under the regulatory authority. And until you meet that standard, yes, it could be that you could still be supervised by look at the other one, say port manager.
Quiet. Don't listen to it.
We're talking about serious. Look, the day-to-day running of for the free port of Monrovia. Someone should list me the management team of the free port of Monrovia separate from the National Port Authority. You understand? Not because you appoint one man, say they made a port manager of the free port. All right? But what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to be the regulatory body. Then there will be no need for creating the law. But you have fused yourself into it. That is why the port in Monrovia was called the Free Port of Monrovia, because it was supposed to be separate from the National Port Authority. The authority is supposed to be the regulatory body. You set up the standards. So when Buchanan Port is developed to meet all the standards, then you can say, yes, you can operate as a port regulated by the National Port Authority. When Harper or Greenville Port meets the standard, or even inland port, because they have inland ports.
That's right.
All right. Then you create the standard and you meet every standard, and then they can give you that autonomy. I believe now the execution of the law is that what are the standards that must be there for you to become an autonomous port on your own? Then you ask yourself, has Buchanan Port, have the Port of Buchanan met that standard? No. If it hasn't met that standard, okay, you're still under this thing until you meet that standard. Has the Port of Greenville met that standard? But what it does, I believe it gives all these ports the impetus now to have different investments coming. So apart from APM terminals going to Port of the Free Port of Monrovia, you could have another port management company coming to sign a contract with Buchanan. The same with APM terminal. You can have another one coming to go to Greenville. All right. So these are what opens up the port system. But because the management of the authority, the regulatory body, has now been fused into the day-to-day running and operations of the Free Port of Monrovia, it has become one and inseparable. And that is why the law has to be passed. All right. Because if it was in operation what it was, that the National Port Authority was separate from the Free Port of Monrovia, and maybe even separate somewhere else, and just regulating, you will not have to do this. Then there's just reinventing the wheel. Then there will be no need of passing this. So it is not true that the day-to-day running of the Free Port of Monrovia is not done by the managers of the National Port Authority. The port manager over there reports to Sekou. He reports to him, that boss man.
So
he manages the National Port, the Free Port of Monrovia. He manages the Free Port of Monrovia, and the regulators don't manage the port.
We've had a lot of disinformation, unfortunately, and I'm going to clarify it.
Yeah,
The
but
National
while
Port
you're
Authority-
clarifying that, can you also include in that why this autonomy is entirely bad for the country? I really want to hear that.
So it's not that autonomy is bad. It's what's being called autonomy is not actually autonomy. I've read the law. I've studied their proposal. The reason the president rejected it for multiple times is because it's poorly written. And I know for a fact that Ambrose has not looked at this, because I know Ambrose is sharp. And I know if he had actually looked at this, he wouldn't be saying what he's saying. That's why I'm frustrated with him. That's my own brother, but I know Ambrose is much brighter than most people that I know that have gone to law school. So I know he didn't read it. He's speaking because the idea of it, because politicians have sold the idea of it, and it sounds great. But the devil is in the details. That's the first thing. Regulations for a country should be uniform. There should be no confusion. The regulator should be national. And that's what I was saying about Ghana and Nigeria. The regulators are national regulators. Port operations, as he rightfully said, can be and should be and are in fact in Liberia separate. And yes, all the port authorities, all four of them, the management of the four ports do in fact report to the National Port Authority. All four ports have a management team. The same way Buchanan has a management team, Freeport has a management team. Greenville has a management team. Harper has a management team. Each one of the ports has their own manager. What needs to happen, this is the point with politicians only speaking half-truths and then promoting things, is that each port should be able to manage itself with some level of freedom, meaning they should have more control over their budgets. They should have more control over innovation and partnerships. That does not mean that they need to be broken apart and you need to get rid of the National Port Authority in order to do so. What that means is, and under the current framework that they just abolished, they could have just given more power to each port. But what's going to happen now is each port is going to have a larger wage bill. Each port is now going to have its own bureaucracy, its own regulation under this new framework. It doesn't even fit into the structure of our country. We're not a federation. So each county cannot have its own regulator and its own ability to collect revenue. We have to change the Constitution for that to make sense. So like I said, it sounds great at the surface, and that's why I said I know Ambrose didn't read it, because Ambrose knows our Constitution and he knows the structure of our country better than I do. So for Ambrose to be here on this platform telling the Liberian people that the Freeport of Monrovia does not have a port manager is shocking.
No, God, I did not say, no, stop. I did not say it didn't have a port manager. I said the management of the port in total is managed by the management of NPA. Getting a single person as port manager is different from the separate management running the entire Freeport of Monrovia, separate from the authority. So what is the authority role that the NPA is playing? NPA is doing management. They don't sit down and do policy. The regulators are policy people. They are not managers. But NPA is not a regulator in this sense. NPA is managing. The management team at NPA is managing the ports. They are not regulating the ports. The regulators are the people who set the policy and the regulations for how ports should operate. But each port runs separate and independent.
How is NPA? The only thing I see, the only flaw that I see based on what I've looked at with the policy is that NPA controls the resources in the sense that they have to sign everything.
But is that what a regulator does?
It's not the same thing.
No, is that what a regulator does? Is that the role of a regulator? To control the budget of the ports, to sign their payments, to do. You are running the ports. You are not regulator.
No, the NPA is not supposed, in my opinion, supposed to do that, but that does not mean that we break the ports apart and create new regulators for each county. That's not the solution. Like I said, they need to give the ports managers more control over their budgets and the negotiation to expand their ports, and all of those things make complete sense. But that is not what this bill does. I'm not understanding why you're confused here. It's not about us destroying everything. Ambrose, you just said the Freeport does not have its own manager.
But you are agreeing with what I said, Dwalu. If somebody signs
who is there?
Budget, signs your paycheck, signs your budget, signs everything that you do. Who runs the authority? Not the person who signs everything.
No, it's not the person.
He's the manager of the Freeport of Monrovia. Who is there?
What?
Ambrose, who is there?
Who is there where?
Who is VG Bayer, the manager of the Freeport? Who is that?
You need to tell me. You say the Freeport.
That is the manager of the Freeport. Each port has its own manager.
You should tell me.
The Freeport of Monrovia, listen to me. The Freeport of Monrovia is managed by Bayer.
Who pays the manager for the Freeport of Monrovia? Not the NPA? Is it not the NPA?
The NPA does pay them.
Who pays the staff of the port of Buchanan? It's not the NPA.
The NPA does.
Who pays the staff of the port of Harper? Is that not the NPA? The NPA is managing. They are not regulating.
Each port has. We're talking about two different things, Ambrose. You said something that was not true. You said the Freeport does not have its own manager. I just told you it does, and I just gave you the Freeport manager is Bayer.
I said the
I told
management.
you that already.
No. Managing an institution, it doesn't mean single person. Show me the management of the Freeport of Monrovia. Show me
Well, look like
the
what do you mean
manager.
look like a manager? Each port has its own manager. I just
All right,
named
so
the manager.
So
You told me Freeport. You told the Liberian people Freeport doesn't have its own manager. You told me that they have their own. Each port has its own management team. Ambrose.
Okay, so list the management team of the Freeport of Monrovia. The port manager, the deputy manager.
Well, get somebody from Freeport to name all of the employees there to satisfy Ambrose so he can accept that he was wrong. The truth of the matter is, each of the ports has their own managing team. They have their own staff. The NPA is different from the Freeport. NPA is different from the Port of Buchanan.
I think what we're gonna do here, let's invite Sekou. We have invite some of the guys from the Freeport.
I know. Let me say something. You know what? In corporate law, when they say you pierce the corporate veil, yeah, and when you can't tell the shareholder from the company management, because the people who own the team run the thing themselves.
So does that mean that you deregulate the country? We're talking about two different things, Ambrose. My issue is not that everything is perfect. Listen, let me land. I let you talk for a very long time. Everything you're saying about the Freeport not being in a perfect condition is true.
No,
but what I'm saying is, the bill that the correction for that issue is flawed, terribly flawed. That is not how you correct it. That's what I'm saying. So to argue that because some reforms need to happen, it's a different argument than deregulating the country's port sector. It's wrong. Deregulation is completely against what we need to be doing to make progress in this country, especially when it comes to the vulnerability of our coastline. That's the issue.
Well, let me end it. I'm going back and forth with Cole. But let me end it. As I said earlier, everybody heard me. I said, Dwalu, I have not read the bill. But as I know that the ports in Monrovia, in Liberia operate today, they are managed by the National Port Authority. The National Port, and I said that I believe in the wisdom of the framers of the creation of the National Port Authority. It was supposed to be a regulator. That's why it is an authority. There should have been a regulator setting the standards for the establishment of different ports and how they are running to meet that standard and that framework.
How does creating four regulators solve that problem? How does creating four new regulators solve that problem?
There are no 4 new regulators. There's 1 regulator.
You have not read the bill.
No.
Why are you arguing?
No,
you just admitted you haven't read it. It creates it's deregulation. And in fact, there's the first of all, what you're saying.
What the 4 regulators?
Ambrose, let's have this conversation next week after you've read the bill.
Don't go. Since you read the bill, what are the 4 regulators coming from? What 4 regulators?
Every port is going to have its own board, its own policy team.
Those are not regulators.
The wage bill.
No, when you're having your policy and your management team and your board, is not regulation. It's not. You are not the regulator. You are not the regulator. The port regulator is central. Is different. As for the board and its management,
that is exactly what NPA is. It's our national regulator. That is what it is.
But then, if it's a national regulator, then it seems like the NPA is serving dual roles, meaning it manages and it regulates at the same time.
It doesn't really manage. Each port has its own manager. What happens is,
but there are sub-managers.
When it comes to collecting revenue, let me finish. When it comes to collecting revenue for the port, just like everything else in this country, everything goes through a central authority. That is a reform that needs to happen. That is a reform that needs to happen under the existing framework of a single regulator. They need to give the port managers more authority and more autonomy. But to completely deregulate our central regulator is not the solution to solving the problem.
Thank you. So what we're going to do, guys, let's get somebody here. I'm going to try to get some people here next week so we can go over this. Thanks for the insight. But before we run away, let me just give Ibrahim a couple of seconds to chime in before we go to the next topic tonight. Ibrahim.
Yeah, daughter, I think I think this issue will be solved when we invite Sekou. So I will reach out to Sekou for him to be able to appear maybe by Wednesday next week, or maybe
We're hoping Monday if you can. Their target Monday if you can.
maybe by Monday, so that we can be able to come here and be able to explain to the Liberian people what is what our brother Ambrose is saying the right thing, or and the is saying the right thing, because for me, I'm confused right now where I'm sitting.
Okay, yeah, we're also trying to reach out to the senators that introduced the bill. I know Senator Dillon or Senator Kanga was also part of that bill, and we will try to get the bill and read portions of the bill so we can all be on the same page as to what is being done. Cole, let me give you 30 seconds before I run away on this thing so we can cross over.
Yeah, I just want Ambrose to read the act and read all of our rebuttals to the act. And it's unfortunate that I'm driving, that I can't cite specifics right now because I'm behind the wheel. But I know Ambrose, and I know that if he were to actually read and understand the motive behind this, he would have a completely different opinion. And that's why I always try, before I form an opinion on something, to get to the nitty gritty of it. I'm very, very surprised, and for Ambrose to take this position, and even not even really realizing how the country's already structured, and the assumptions. It's shocking to me. So let's go back to the bill itself, the new act that was passed, and review it. Even the reasons the president vetoed it the first 2 times. These are some of the things that were cited. And now today we're having this conversation like the bill is something new. It's unfortunate.
Thank you. Thank you. And we will get that bill. I will get the bill hopefully this weekend.
So you give my 30 seconds to
Oh, yeah, no, 30 seconds, Ambrose. Yeah, it's not fair. Go ahead.
No, but it's all right. Look, Tualu, whatever we shout, we shout. I said before, and I believe that the wisdom of the framers of creating the National Port Authority was the basic thing that happens, that you need an authority, a regulator that will stand as the independent body that will set the standards and the policies for which ports will be established and they will be run to meet all the international standards. I believe over time, managers of the NPA started to take over the management of these ports. First starting from the Freeport of Monrovia. They started to now appoint port managers to different places, which is not the role of the regulator. So they turned themselves into the management of these ports, which is what is happening today. Until President Joseph Boakai came, the managers of the different ports were being appointed by the NPA manager, which is not the role of a regulator. All right? So once the law has come and set up, it could even be the nomenclature and say the National Port Authority again, which is now the regulator, but divorced. So each port get their own board of directors, they get their own management, they are independent, they stay and do their thing. Only you set the standards. Have you met the ISPR standard? Have you met this to become an independent port? If not, the regulator can even put you under another port until you reach that status. But that is the regulator. But the regulator has no business signing people paychecks. The regulator has no business telling people the budget. That's not the regulator's function. Okay. And that is what is happening today. And that is why I believe the law is trying to change so that we stand in what is done in the industry.
You can't believe something you have not seen, Ambrose.
You come back again.
Thank you,
You've seen the law, man. Come on, man. You're talking about things that don't exist.
Go, let's move on.
Ambrose,
let's move on. I beg you.
That's wrong.
Let's move on. So,
I know Councilman be saying the law is doing this. You haven't seen the law.
Thank you.
You're
like I said, we come back.
No, you shouldn't be citing a law you haven't seen.
The law in hiding.
You might not be citing law you have not seen, my brother. That's wrong.
You yourself have said
on a national platform. I've read the law you have not. I've read it, you have not. You just assuming things that you've not seen.
Yeah, but
that's not fair to you and not fair to the audience. We gotta be honest with our people.
You read the law.
You're citing law you have not seen.
Are you reading the call? You read the law. You telling me there are four regulators. Then you tell me say that the law you read.
And do you know how many versions of this thing these people not bring? And we have critiqued it and sent it back.
For the version the president signed. We'll wait for the
Oh,
version of the president.
let move on, guys. Let's move on. We'll
Something
come
that
back.
needed reform, they are divided for political reasons, and you there clapping for them? Come on, brother. You know better than these people.
Thank you, Cole. Look, Andrew, let me start with you here. Let's just switch this thing over. 13 people are going to court starting on Monday. I remember in the case we got some rice from the Saudis. The rice they put in pro bags, and they put their pictures on it. They were selling the rice at very high prices. Those rice was supposed to be donated in the country, but besides the distribution of that rice across the country, nobody got the money, or they got only some of the money. They could not be fully accounted for. And before I ask you the question, these are the people who have been named to go to court on Monday. The case is before criminal court C. The first person here is D. Maxwell Sakimia, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Vani Sreli, former Minister of Internal Affairs, Tillman Sawyer, former Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs for Administration, Augustine Cully, Director for Disaster Victims at the National Disaster Management Agency, Henry O. William, former Executive Director. We have Edward S. Kone, his employee. Achievego M. Doe is also from the Disaster Relief, former Deputy Minister for Operation and General Agencies. That's Edris Billete is also part of that. Assistant Director for GSA, Momolu Johnson, former Deputy Minister. So it's a bunch of people that will be before the court to make sure they clear their names, so to speak. Now, this is something we want in the country. People are going to court. One thing I love that has not happened, nobody can claim that the LACC or the GAC or even the asset recovery is wishing on anybody, because everything has been done in accordance with law. This is before the court. Ambrose, the right direction for the society, or this is the wrong approach? Well, because of both, the wrong approach.
If I yell for all gonna do, like
Oh.
wrong approach.
The revenue, if you passing that revenue, can you put the go for?
Yeah, but yeah, all right. You know, Dwalu, let me just say this quickly. I said that, sometimes in the chat room, I was encouraging those of you, and I don't know your rule on the platform. For those who own this Class Reloaded, I suggested that they do a formal registration of the institution to the Ministry of Information to get its accreditation and all that, so that we can begin to expand, hopefully to get some correspondence either in the courts and all those places. It gives us better, because I realize now that being out of the bailiwick of Liberia, it is giving me some little challenge in getting these documents from the court, which will help me to be able to analyze the situation. Because, for example, this case, the indictment, I've been trying with the contacts of the Ministry of Justice, but I haven't gotten them. I've been trying to get these indictments. If I was trying to get all the indictments on financial crime, corruption, all these indictments that are whether from the LACC or from the ARET, to get and to look at it, because you see the indictment is more explicit. The indictment is more detailed. It tells you the role each person plays and why the government holding each person responsible for what they did. You understand? The release is just generic. They brought rice, but first people might not underestimate, say, oh, that rice business. First, look at the value. Number one is $500,000. And the indictment is showing, or the release is showing, that there is about 425,000 or thereabout that is unaccounted for.
That's right.
All right, that's almost $500,000. People just think that we gotta raise that rice. That's almost $500,000. Secondly, the purpose for which it was brought. It was brought for people who had gone through certain devastation and disaster. Was it what it was used for?
No.
Or did people put their political picture or do political thing and divide and run campaign with it? Whilst people were affected by disaster. All right. So these are the things that we need to start to get. I tried to get there. I will still continue. I will ask Mo to help me since he's on the ground. And we don't have a correspondent at the court, because a public document, the indictment, a public document. Once it goes to the court, it is there. Then it gives us, each side will tell you what role the government says or why they are taking D. Maxwell Kimia to court. What did he do? Because the indictment will explain that he did this one. This person did this one. The other person was holding the gate. Everybody came. They just open the gate. They carry it. He didn't do nothing. He did not perform his duty. This is what the indictment will tell us. But having not seen that, Dwalu, I also say that this is good. And I've always said that the essence of investigation or holding people accountable is not only to just do it, but when you're carrying them to court, you must also make sure that you have a watertight case. And I've said this, and I say it to the government, and I'll say it openly. People should not think that knowing our people in Liberia, that these, especially corruption cases, will be won only in the court of law. The Liberian people need to understand, what did you say the man do? It's simple. He said he carrying Dwalu to court. Oh, what did the person say Dwalu did? Or the person said Dwalu did this, A, B, C, D. Then the other person said, no, but Dwalu said he didn't do it because he will not do it. You know, then at least people get the balance. But you just come and say, oh, they gave rest. Then so the people, they didn't do the rest. Some people will say, oh, but we is on the rest. So why are you carrying the people to court? All right. So sometimes these documentation will help us to understand and to see what is the weight of the case that government is carrying. What did they say? All right. They said that this person came and this is the role he played. This person did not do this, and this time he came, this is what he did. So, but I think it's good. I was wondering when these cases from Arab will start to go to court so that we don't go through the legal time frame. You remember the issue from the LACC with the former president of Nokal, who the court had to throw her case outside because they failed to proceed with the case after charging her with corruption. The term of court came, it passed. Nobody went to the court, so the court threw it outside. I was hoping that some of these cases on this corruption thing don't go the same way. So I'm happy that now it is going to court. We'll be listening out to the court and see what is happening. There are a lot of things happening. You know, the Arab, I don't know what happened with the issue with the Finabondo bill situation. I know that they challenged her new bill that she sent, and which was correct. Because you see, you can't, and I thought they were going to write to the Chambers Justice to hold Fina's lawyers in contempt. Because when you go to the Chambers Justice and the Chambers Justice asks the judge to reverse everything and hold it to status quo and take her from jail, you should have waited until the judge says his mandate. When the mandate is read, anything after that mandate you can do. The case cannot be before the Chambers Justice, then you go file now an $8 million bond. It means that you are using the Chambers Justice just to get her out of jail and pass behind back door to go and file a bond, which is wrong. Because as long as that matter was before the Chambers Justice, and as a matter of fact, as by law, unless that mandate is read by the judge before the party and say, this is what the judge, I understand the Chambers Justice had declined to issue the writ and tell the judge to go ahead. But until the judge reads that to the parties, the matter is still, nobody can take any action in that matter. So why would the judge himself to go accept or sign the people filing a bill, $8 million bill, while the matter is still before the Chambers Justice? I understood the Arab people have challenged that. I don't know how far that is gone, but by the time you read that mandate, Fina should go back to jail. She should be in jail, file her new bond. While she's there, the bond be tested. Once the bond passes, then you can release her. But she can't be outside now while the thing there, you go file different bond. So I'm glad that the Arab is taking the steps to start with the prosecution, and we'll look forward. But I'll still try to get those documents on all those cases and see what the indictment actually says.
Yep, thank you so much. And I know you mentioned previously about having, judicial correspondence and all of that. You boys are ready, but everything these guys do.
Confusing. You think all the time we agree, we confusing.
We agree. But before Abraham coming, Abraham, it is fitting to remind our people the kind of rights we're talking about. The likes of Kimia when they were in the country. You remember that rights. Let me just take you guys back what happened in the country at that time. We are talking about 500,000 United States dollar, 500,000. Over 400, I believe there's 60-something thousand is on accounting for. plenty of money over there. So some people who are throwing money around the country. You're watching when the rice came to the country.
Yeah.
So the quantities are here.
The quantity here is
Okay, we have 12,292 bags in here.
Yeah.
Then the other stock warehouse, we have 5,920.
in the same building.
Yeah.
In the same building.
Okay, we got the original warehouse is later. 1,292 is here.
Okay.
The 5,920 is the other warehouse.
Okay.
So we got it 3 locations.
Yeah.
الجو هنا بالنسبه لمسألة الحراره او شده الرطوبه، انا لاحظت ان هنا هنا الجو معقول جدا كويس.
How's the atmosphere for setting the item here? As we know, different galactic really good weather inside the store. So is it always like that? It can set very well?
Yeah, it's safe. It's very safe.
The atmosphere, the humidity.
Regardless of air conditions here, nobody. The ventilation is not bad. Yeah. So I mean, it's good. It's ideal. Yeah. So we'll just also say walk you through and the same thing.
Okay.
We'll just do a Photoshop so you have a picture of it. So, but this is their warehouse. Yeah, okay. Disaster Management Agency. The office is here, so okay. In the same office, and they have, you know, the consignment, you know. Yeah. But the total that's 49,412 kg bags.
I'm going to stop right there, Abraham. You know, you got people from the desert giving people in the tropics rice. And then, very shameful indeed. We got work to do. But then when they get our rice again, those are free bag of rice. And people remember President Weah went and reprinted new bags and put his picture on those bags of rice, but they did not give it for free to the Liberian people. And in addition to that, the money that is sold the free bag of rice for, nobody saw the money. Abraham, your take.
Duaro is just sad for our country. That is the reason why, for me, I will continue to, when I bend and pray, I will be praying for God to punish all those that voted for President Weah and bringing calamity upon us.
Where you go pray? You go pray to the mosque or to the church?
I'm telling you, I better go to the mosque.
But no, this is serious. You know, I like the stand that Aras is taking in making sure that this Ghana, let us go explain their deal in court. Let them be able to go to court. Let them be able to tell the Liberian people. Because I can remember, there was a time that our old ladies were jumping over the fence for a bag of rice. People are going to Freeport, they could not get a bag of rice. There was a rice shortage on the Liberian market at the time. There was a gas shortage on the Liberian market at the time. So, like Bibra Ambrose said, you know, it will be put upon us for us to wait and be able to hear and have the indictment in the presence of us, so that we can be able to know what errors indicted D. Mazur coming out for. Because that guy that they call D. Mazur came out, excuse me for my expression, that Bibra is a classified crook.
Be careful, will it sue you?
Yeah, like you can sue me here. But actually, if you look at the clandestine behavior that these Ghanaians carry on during their regime, the behavior, the manner in which the Ghanaians treated our people, the manner in which the Ghanaians behave to our Liberian people, it was so much devastating. It was not something that was correct. So 100% in support of Aras taking on this matter and presenting it to the court. So now the indictment has been presented out to the court. Now let us be able to wait to be able to see what will be said from that indictment, how the case will go. But I'm 100% in support of this because this will show transparency, this will show accountability, so that let people be able to give account of their stewardship during their time of their service. Liberal people were serving the people, instead of the people serving the liberal people then was serving the people. And people come to leadership in order for you to be able to serve, but not the other way around. So I'm 100% in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And this is the indictment you were asking about. Esther, from here, the case stems from the donation of 29,412 bags of rice of 25 kg rice, value a $550,000 United States dollar by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to the government of Liberia in April 2023. The rice was intended for distribution to disaster affected communities and victims across Liberia and was placed in a warehouse under the management of relevant government institutions. Following an investigation by the Asset Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force, the defendants were indicted in 2025 in connection with the handling and distribution of the donated rice. The indictment charges that 25,054 bags, valued at $425,918, were stolen. Let me say that again. The indictment alleges that 25,000 bag of rice, 25,054 bag of rice, valued at $425,000 US dollar, $918 was stolen, misapplied, or otherwise improperly distributed, depriving disaster victims and government of Liberia of intended benefit of the donation. The defendants face charges including theft of property. That's number one, they face theft of property. Number two, economic sabotage involving the misuse of public money, property or record, and theft and or illegal disbursement and expenditure of public money, misapplication of entrusted property, abuse of office, and criminal conspiracy. This is what they have been charged with. My brother Blair, my brother Abraham, you were asking, the remaining $425,000 is only accounted for. Before we go to the phone line, Councilor Ma, any comment?
Yeah, Dwalu, but that is not the indictment. That is just a release.
Yes, the release. Exactly.
Yeah, that's just a release. The indictment is more detailed, and because they named 13 people, normally what the indictment would do would give the role each person play, and it would say, for you, Mr. X, on this particular day, you took X amount of bags of rice from this warehouse, and instead of distributing it to this place, you took it to this other place, and for which reason we charge you with this. That is what the indictment will do. This is just a release. That's the indictment I said will give us an opportunity to see what role each person played and how they came to be charged. This one just talk. So all of that, if they are able, the indictment is able to get able to count 4,000 something thousand bags of rice, equivalent to $400 something thousand. Yeah. All right. So the way it talks about 25,050 bags. So if you read the indictment, you will see how the 25,054 bags of rice was misapplied. That indictment is supposed to explain it.
Okay.
So it will be in the indictment. Then the Liberian can know, say, oh, so this is what was happening to the rice. This is how it went. All right. So that's what I'm talking about. That's the indictment I'm talking about. When we get, then we'll be able to look into it more in detail.
Yeah. Thank you for that correction. Absolutely necessary. But those were the charges, has been explained by Everett, and according to the counselor, the indictment will be broken down in pieces. So they will say Dwalu stole 20 bags of rice, and it's equivalent to this amount. And this is what we think we charge Dwalu with economic sabotage distribution. So there will be that break.
Exactly.
So that's how it's going to be. So guys, let's take some calls from you guys.
Maybe the warehouse guy, they may say, according to your SOP, your professional standard, when somebody's supposed to take this is the document you're supposed to receive before you give out the rice. We see that you did not do this and you gave out the rice, so we charge you with this. So this is what the indictment will say.
Okay. So the indictment will be more detailed and very specific because it can be general. It has to be the man took Dwalu eyeglasses and he make it out of Chinese glasses.
Yes, and that is why when you go to court, that is what you have to prove for
Okay.
each person.
Yeah, and Bedu, you remember that I paid some of that money too. I paid that money 2 times. They were charging $75. That $75, nobody know where that money went today. That money, they owe me $300. I want my money. I know I get up, man. But anyway, let's take some calls from you guys across the country. We don't have Harris in studio today. Yeah, Bedu, we all were paying that $75. In fact, there came a time they didn't want the $75 to go away. But nobody know where the $75 will go in. If you got to Rara International Airport, the boys were taking the money. Let me tell you how dangerous, not just dangerous, how wicked the boys were. The disaster was in the country. The Saudis felt sorry for us. Guys from the desert were bringing food to people in the tropics. This is one of the things we do to our country. We need to grow our own food. But that small rice, 29,000 bag of rice that people sent to the country to give away, they decided to sell it. And they sell it at a higher value. And I just saw my own classmate in there, Gustin. Gustin was in our play, they were in now together. Hey, Color, let's begin to take some calls here. And if you get called into the show, we discussed the free port thing. I mean, the port autonomy bill. We talked about it. We will try to get Siku here, get some people here. Hopefully they can explain. We'll try to read that bill. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not really we don't understand most of the legal terms that are involved, but whatever that I can understand with my layman brain, we'll try to explain it.
How you doing this evening?
You're live. We're doing great. You're live on the network.
This is Daniel calling from Dallas.
Hey, Daniel, welcome.
Okay. My point I want to make is on the issue of the ports. So what's really wrong with someone decentralizing the ports? I thought even if we got a security constraint or other thing, I thought that would also help us as a country to be able to strengthen our security apparatus and other things. Horace's was saying that it will not provide jobs for people, or it will not do this, it will not do that. But if you look at the Freeport of Monrovia, it's actually been run by Honorable Duque. And if you go to it, everything that is being done by him or his team. But I think just as Council was saying, if you have a regulatory body, that regulatory body will not interfere in the affairs of the management. Also, they will do policy and other things. But instead of that, I think we need to see how best we can decentralize our port. For me, I think it's good. I know people will say politician, but in life, people will still have to eat because they have to use their brain, they have to use their mind to be able to make money and bring in investors. What I think is that it should be done in a proper way and for the betterment of the nation. That's all.
Thank you. Great input. And thank you for calling to the show. I'll call out the numbers on the screen at 774-578-1963. Call into the show, have you say. What is on the poor bill? Like I said, we'll try to discuss this in detail sometime next week. If on the issue of the rice that were being supplied to the country, over 29,000 bags of rice that were being supplied to the country. Most of that rice, nobody know where it was. 29,412 bags of rice, value around $500,000, $500,000 under the Wheeler administration. They could not account for 25,054 bags of rice, which amounted to $425,918,000. $425,918,000 United States dollars. That money could not be accounted for. They were, according to IRA, they were either stolen, misapplied, or otherwise improperly distributed, depriving disaster victims and the government of Liberia of the intended benefit of the donation. So if you're a security guard there or you are beaming to that place, you can claim, say, oh, then I mean, take it. It is your responsibility when you are in charge of something. While the phone line is still waiting, according to the charge sheet, we don't have the detail of the indictment. According to Councilor Manley, there will be more detail on the indictment. But based on what arrests have been presented to the public so far, the defendants face charges including theft of property. Some people stole, economic sabotage. Basically, they did things that can negatively impact the economy of Liberia, involving the misuse of public funds. The money was going to go in Liberia coffers, some people give it to their girlfriend, and yet my interpretation there, property of all record and theft, Some people stole government property and they didn't get the money to the people. Illegal disbursement. They pay the beggar rate. Also, to go, they were arguing that the beggar rate champion, they gave beggar rate to all their girlfriend and illegal distribution. Now, what I want to mean, expenditure of public money. They take the money, they sell the beggar rate, and give it to the government. They eat the money, misapplication of entrusted property. The government say home and rest here. When the government will come out, they rent and there, abuse of office. The people may know over the rest, they yes, over the rest, and they abuse their office and criminal conspiracy. All of them could now so they can sell the rent and divide among themselves. Now let me talk it. I'm your interpreter. You know, Kurokwa interpreter that you there. Call your live, your name where you calling from.
Hello?
Yeah, you're live.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for the show. Our LRB sister and mother on the show. Please take it easy with my counselor. I learned a lot of things from the counselor.
Good.
Yeah, I learned a lot of things.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised. I will be one of the lawyers too. That's most of them are going to do it, yeah? They claim for somebody who not even go sit in class room. They be professor.
You start knocking your chest.
Walking, you see that, rushing on it. You know that power on it. That's the issue. My brother, you see how the CDC got it was so wicked. You know what brought the conflict in Liberia? Arrest. One of the key things.
Yeah.
They made it so arrest to their own citizen. You see how it's bad to bring somebody who would have crooked to bring it to power? Man, we wouldn't even have money to buy gas for a car. It was tough on him. We took the country, we gave it to him. And they start selling rent to their own people. What kind of wickedness did? And this happens when they go to church, they can tell the front band when they put church music, then when they read the thing, they say, yeah, they get or the guy is very holy. What kind of wickedness is that? Brother Dwaru?
Yeah.
This country will get better.
It's supposed to get better, Lord.
Yeah, the country turning to America, branching, but people not taking notice of it. The same food stamp we get here. Can you imagine getting food stamp now?
Jerry. Jerry.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, the Bible book has a kind of parable. They call it click ye bucking. Yeah, I'm telling you, small we get there. All the rest road in when we prosecute them, we solving small problem.
Yeah, but there's a need to build more prison center. Yeah.
I think Abraham let you right now. No, you can't leave it. Yeah.
Oh, my brother. Somebody was telling me, oh my God, black Papa may use another enjoy you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's go to the next caller. Yeah. Somebody just said we're not getting the colors. Said we can barely hear the color. Oh, I don't think so. Caller, you're live.
Yes,
Let me make sure the thing is plugged in. Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Jackson from Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read the documents concerning the decentralization report. Well, I just want to know, will that pool of revenue be put into one account for expansion of the existing port and to build a new port? You see, like Robert's Port, where that ship drifted the other day, that area needs a port. It has been in the quick work, I think, since Stockman time. And, people have been let down all the time for that port. That strip of water is an essential part, I think, leading down to the Indian Ocean. So we need a port that stretches from Roberts Port all the way to the Lofa River, because the Lofa River separates Skipman from Omi County and that area. I've been through that back there. That whole area is an expansion, very, very ideal location to put a port. So I hope, the decentralization program, that the pool of resources or revenue will be used for the expansion of ports and also to build new ports in the country. Because as you can see, the whole 43,000 miles of Liberia is stretched along coastal line. And so we need expansion of new ports. So I hope some of that money will be done for that in the future.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a massive coastline. I think it's 350 miles of coastline from Harper to Robertsport. So we have a massive coastline that can be utilized. The phone number is on the screen, 774-578-1963. In the meantime, while we're waiting, they let laugh small, saying the caller not coming, they laugh small before we go, during what happened to our country.
President Mose Blatt in the country over to Ma Eli and my Ellie is taking the country forward. She's taking Labrador forward, and Labrador is improving. Good roads, electricity good, everything is good. Good schools, good building, and everything is going smoothly. And let's see who she's going to turn the country over to. Who is she going to turn the country over to? Oh, she gave it to Joey. Joey, where you going with the country? Joey, come back. Joseph, we're going to go for it. Joseph, we're going to go for the country.
Nigeria get the country back. Nigeria, a great depiction of what happened in our country. Everybody carry in from Nigeria saying, no, I'm going to reverse it for you. I'll be telling my buka. That what happened to the country. So we are getting no more calls. I'm going to come back in the studio and hear from you guys. Your parting statement for the night. Take some time. We have about half an hour, roughly. So let me hear from you guys. Councilor Man regarding anything that we did not fully cover.
No, let my man go for it.
Okay. What the man about to go? You know, I want the man to go quickly. Let watch your thing small before you run away, my brother. I'm begging you in the meantime. And sometimes it's just great to remind us what's happening in the country. Let's listen to Nije Small before you actually put it in there. I got another caller here. This caller here. I mean, you can wait when I unplug the whole thing. Caller, you're live.
Hello, John.
You're live.
Yeah, this is LSU from Portland, Oregon.
You're live.
Okay, so John, I'm going to dive from your conversation you're having today.
That one, I'm back.
There's something my mind is drawn to in our country, Nigeria. You know, when they first named Patrick from Kakata, he was a police commander in the GA. I had serious problem with this thing, and then but one of my friends called for the same Kakata for Evan Hammer. He started to praise his God, and that guy has shown the true color. See, the reason I brought this up, Patrick had been a sedition, and not just a sedition. That guy had been having a bad record in the red light area. He probably was killing someone at all. When I was in Liberia, that guy had a sister dwelling you there in the security personnel. Is it possible for you to be a commander and then you got second group of boys that not in your food? The way you're in the military, they are not military personnel, but you got them to send it on error. They're behind you. That how Patrick was ruling all through his security, like how he operate. So he told that got people behind them, they're not security, but that guy that is sending places to accompany the mission. I also saw that with this guy. Every command, he got people too. If you saw the receive a complaint, you bring in a party guy there, every command got one guy for him, command too. They have to throw only Mr. Madrid. That's the system. So I was so happy when I heard me avoid the drug business. I said, okay, I wanted to make my call that day, but I didn't have the time. But thank God, I wasn't wrong for my decision. So that's my point I want to make.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Before we go ahead, let relax small. We can give you too serious all the time.
How can you come here if you can run? How can you come here to see nothing? Run can kill you. Kill a man. Run can kill you. Kill a man. Hey, day. Siroga. Hey, day.
We're not going back. We're going back.
Yeah, Dora, I just wanted to comment on something that I just saw on Facebook. Because Jeff Fanatic Kofa, he is not contesting 2029.
Oh, he is not?
He is not contesting 2029.
He's announced it?
Yeah, he's announced it. That he is not contesting 2029 when it comes to the representative seat.
Oh, okay.
All right, but
so you'll be VP.
So he's anticipating on being a VP or running for the Senate. But now this is what I just saw. I mean, they are thinking of carrying him for Masurado again, because you know, so of them on our side, so are that we are sharing on our side. So they are thinking of him coming to Masurado and him being able for him to be able to contest against my friend and brother Eddie. So that one it will not be a small defeat though. It will not be a small defeat because the brother would defeat him unmercifully. But what is my closing statement is, I will urge for us to be able to register like what Bibra Ambrose have said, so that we can have, wider coverage when it comes to us, getting documentation for the court, so that we can be able to have our reporter then going in the Liberian Senate as well, in the judiciary too as well, so that they can be reported to you directly. I strongly believe that this is what we should start to think about, and that will be, really good for us, so that when we come here, we'll be speaking with facts. Although most of our discussion will speak with facts, but this will there be a boost of our presentations. Secondly, let me say thank you to Mr. President, for appointing, those men and women, his able lieutenants that are delivering in terms of LRA, in terms of Mo Ali, in the areas of, LPRC, our gas and, products, and managing of our free port. Let me be able to tell him thank you for him being able to entrust the young people in then be able to lead. This president have come to rescue the country, and I strongly believe that Liberia will be rescued under the presidency of DMB. With much ado, let me say thank you, and thank you to our followers, thank you to our viewers. Make sure you go to the page and be able to subscribe so that when we come on, you will be able to receive notification as well. With much ado, Eduardo, thank you. See you when I see you.
Thank you so much. If you look at on the screen, that the rice, they rebag the rice that the Saudis gave us, rebag it so they can lie to the Liberian people, and they said our pro rice. And the bag, then you're seeing, they said, now this is what they did to the bags over there. Humble man, if you're not in a hurry,
You sure?
I want for the that the bag, they made it rebag, and I'm sure I know that 100%. I would have been it did. They rebag all the rice in and they brought it. They made it did that thing there. But humble man, before you talk, let listen to the small, let's motivate us small before you leave. We got small time, begging you.
One nation, indivisible. Oh, how sweet this country could be if we only rebuilt it for all of us to enjoy. We must believe that there is sufficient space to accommodate our differences and our shared experiences, that there are enough resources to supply our basic needs and cultivate our God-given talents. And so, we must narrow wide gaps between the poor and the prosperous, between the powerless and the powerful, between women and men, girls and boys, young and old, rural and urban, domestic and diasporic. Every 26th should be a moment of reflection and reckoning. Have we dared to be defiant in the previous year? Have we treated each other with civility and not cruelty? Have we upheld high standards of accountability, and that includes respecting time? Have we reduced inequality and redistributed wealth to enable everyone to thrive, not merely survive? Have we developed functioning systems that will outlive us? Have we taken full responsibility for our socio-economic transformation? My challenge to us on this Defiant Day is to build back better. My challenge to us on this Defiant Day is to build back differently.
Yes, we must build back better. This is the challenge to all of us. This is why we must wrap our hands around the country and ask the leadership and wish the leadership well, because Liberia desperately needs it. Consider man, your parting statement, sir.
Yeah, Dwalu. I will part on this note. I mean that that delivery by Niji was great. I was there. I was not at the program itself, but I was in Liberia and I followed it. I listened to every bit of it. I was excited, and I think that's what stimulates us. But I'll part with the very good news to that it just shows to us that for me that things are really changing. Um, and I speak of statistics all the time, and thanks to the Ministry of Justice in the rule of law sector. Well, we're not joking. The midterm of court, the 42-day jury sitting, that is from May up to the 42 days of the second Monday in May up to 42 days just before the August term.
Yeah.
The government of Liberia took 99 cases to court across the country, criminal cases. 99, And I'm happy that all of that statistics, the government won 77 of those cases.
That's pretty good.
77 of those cases. The government lost 11 of those cases, and 11 ended up being hung jury, which means it has to retry. What is good for me is first, the commitment to vigorously pursue the rule of law, to end impunity. It doesn't matter what the different levels of crimes were. But one of the reasons why, and I think that I would urge the Ministry of Justice to put a statistic up, in a press statement, so that, because impunity, the reason why people do things is because people believe that when they do things, they'll get away with it.
Absolutely.
Nothing will happen.
It's always been. That's how it's always been.
All right. But what is shown us is that in 42 days alone around the country, the government was able to take 99 cases to court. We are now in the August term of court. I believe that even can spur the government on to do more. And some of the challenges we see that, especially when these cases have to do with jury trial, that some of the problems we have in the rules of court. And I think it doesn't need constitutional change. Probably just it doesn't need the legislation. They just need the rules of the court. The Supreme Court can sit down and say, okay, if we can do trial sitting, look, I've seen countries now doing, for example, Ghana, they got court running up to evening time. They got one judge can sit down from morning to about 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock, another judge comes in the same court and moves from 3 to about 7.
Wow, it's pretty good.
Yes, in the same court.
That's
so
necessary.
it's to speed up. So because if you look at our docket, you look at the cases that are hanging, and this is what frustrates many people. All right, you look at, for example, you look at the land cases. That's why I tell people right now. I know how many people come. I tell them, I say, look, number one, you go to home in Liberia, but even though my firm is there, but long time I decided to start wiping my hands. That's why many people won't wipe their hands away from land case. Because you stay there almost 4-5 years, your shoe running up and down. Your client won't pay you. You tell the people, say, pay me $250 per hour, they ain't able. You get them one fee too, you tell them, say, $10,000, they ain't able. They will they get you something like 3,000. That 3,000, you will walk your shoe, you will either, you use your own money. So now many lawyers and say, let me put that thing. But if we need some real, we need some innovation in reform. And that is one thing I would urge my brother, Senator Dillon, who wanted to do reform. Instead of talking about the matter that goes to the Chamber of Justice, forget about that matter there. Let's look at reforms where the Supreme Court can allow, or the government can find some resources to start to get more relieving judges. More judges. So that you can even run the court up to evenings. Security is getting better in the country. All right? Because when you're doing one, if you go to a land case and you're doing one case and there's a jury sitting, until that case finishes, and if that case takes all the 242 days or almost to the end of the 42 days, you can sit another jury. So that whole time, that only one case you hear.
Wow.
One case. Unless the other party, then another juror case, they say we want to do bench trial, then the judge will say, okay, in the afternoon, I'll listen to the bench trial. But in a juror case, everybody say they want juror case. I mean, one case every term, at most 2 cases every term. You know the number of cases we got?
That is not really going to work.
And so I'm impressed that with the Minister of Justice now pushing that more and more cases go to court so that you clear the docket, so that, because as I said, accused people also have rights. But you can be presumed innocent indefinitely, because the government, for taking you to court, the government may have a reason to take you. The government believe that you have done something wrong. And so taking 99 cases to court and winning 77 out of them and losing 11, I think that is a good score.
That's a good score.
And they need to keep it up. But the minister probably needs to start having conversations. It is going to cost resources, but that is what we do when people can have confidence that the cases will move faster.
Yeah.
We need to start having more relieving judges, so that you got 2 judges. If you have the civil law court, we got Annex A and Annex B. Now 1 court, but at 2 annexes. But the 2 annexes now, they thought by creating the second annex, we're going to reduce the cases. But when you do 1 case a term, in that term, you got almost 15 cases or 20 cases coming back to the court. So you get the only one, then you get 15 coming. What have you done? So maybe we need to start adopting some of the strategies that people are doing around the world. Running the courts, almost in the evenings. The court closes at 8, sometimes 9. You got 1 judge, the same court. 1 judge sits, the other judge sits in the afternoon, run to the evening time. All right, so you can speed up those cases. But I'm so glad and happy that the Minister of Justice is making some of these trends. But as the population grows, we still have cases coming. But don't make the people frustrated so long. Probably the Chief Justice needs to look at it, and maybe sometimes also allow for 1 term of court to have simultaneously about 2 or 3 jurors sitting, because maybe the judge can do the other case, the judge can even do it. So we say, Dwalu, your only case is from me. I'm giving you only, whether you get 20,000 witnesses, I'm giving you 2 hours every day. We come from 8 to 10 o'clock, I own a case. I'll take 1 hour break. From 11 to 1, that the second case, the second jury will sit down. Different case we own. We do it like that. But I want jury sitting per case until the case is finished before you impanel a new jury. It's going to delay us badly. I know 1 jury can hear 2 different cases, but you can get different jurors so that the new set of jurors come for the second case, which is different. Let's do something for people to see that the rule of law is running. That's why people can say the wheels of justice run slowly, but when it runs too slow until they start crawling, it can make people frustrated and it can lead people to do different things. Let me commend the Ministry of Justice. I think it's a good sign. I think you need to challenge the prosecutors more, and let me thank them for the good work they are doing. And now we are seeing more and more. All right. It shows that you are not just indicting people for nothing, but that you have, solid grounds that which you're doing that. And so we can do that. And then let's see how we can speed up the administration of justice. And once people see those things going, sometimes they learn things into, sometimes you can't understand. They think clear.
Yeah, clear. But again, you're wasting time.
But then you go sitting down again. I don't understand it. The court say, go do investigative survey. The surveyor bring a report to the judge. The surveyor say, I've done a report. I've seen Dwalu deed. I've seen Councilor Man deed. These 2 deeds here, I think the other deed there for Ma, the deed doesn't look genuine. We check the archive, we check all our records, we don't see this deed. But the other deed, we see it. Obviously, it tells you straight, because those are the technocrats. When that survey report comes to the judge, why must we go to trial again? Why must you now still? They say we must still set up the jury. Then they must still listen. What the jury will change, what the technical man who evaluated the 2 deeds, or the man can say they may encroaching on Dwalu land. They may got own property, Dwalu property, different place. I've seen that in plenty of time. Dwalu said that he property this. The man say, no, my property, they go to court, they go to do investigative survey. The man say, oh, but your deed, the meets and bounds on this, your deed here, it show that your land is on the other side, not here. The man say, no, I agree. The man finish writing that report, he bring it. Then they say, okay, but still in panel jury. Then the jury can say, now let them listen. What they come in listen to? When the technical, the jury can read, they can read the drawing on the deed. You know, some of these things, we gotta be smart about it in these times. And I believe many of the land cases can end in these kind of things. Because one of the time we're in the land reform, because I said I was fortunate to be working. You know, the former chief justice set up with the Ministry of Justice and all the actors, they set up a technical working group to be able to look at why these land cases, why people are fighting and all that. And I'm telling you, I said the people should look at the report that we put together. These are some of the things. We said, look, when a surveyor go do this technical survey, he must bring the report to the land authority. There must be a committee of 5 to look at that report. They must sign on that report, because which means they believe that his work is genuine. And because sometimes people go pay a surveyor and they say, Mama, you're ready, all kind of thing.
That's the question I want to ask you, Mr. Councilor Man, because there's people pay people, officials within the system, to write something as and kind of prolong the case and jeopardize the case, especially
exactly. So when you go to court, first the Supreme Court did the right thing. Say any land dispute, first before the judge even start the case or anything, they must order an investigative survey. The investigative survey, Dwalu bring his surveyor, I bring my surveyor, the land authority send the government surveyor, who is the chairman. Now all the 3 surveyors are supposed to be there. My representatives all be there, Dwalu representatives all be there to do the survey. If there's any reason that Dwalu representative has a problem, what we are recommending is that when that survey report is done, it is sent to a technical board at the land authority. A board, maybe 3 persons or 5 persons, to look at that report. Now, because my surveyor represented me, and he felt, because he's a surveyor too, and felt that the way the survey was conducted was wrong, he will write his objection and send it to that board, because that's the technical people. But what we do in the court is that we object in the court. My surveyor will tell me, say, the way the man conducted the survey was not correct. Then my lawyer will write all that thing. Then we'll file to challenge the survey report with the judge. Then in the court, we're going to start a whole new process of court. And the judge is not a technical man. The judge not surveyor. The lawyer is not surveyor. So for us, the remedy was, no, send that report to the technical board. Any of the other surveyors who have a problem with how the survey was conducted on the technical matters, then you send your complaint there. Then those technical people will look at it and say, oh no, the report is wrong. We will cancel the report and send a new one. Or we have gone through it and we believe this report is correct. When that board authenticates that report, it is signed by the chairman, it's sent to the court. Once it's sent to the court, Dwalu, it ends the case. Because other people will determine whether Dwalu deed is genuine or not genuine, or my deed is correct. Once they finish saying it, the technical people say, this is the Dwalu deed, we have checked. Because you see, the land authority, that's what we register all the deeds. That's what we do everything that happen in the archive. They will check. And when they find all that thing, they do all that thing. When they come and say that Dwalu genuine did it, who is anybody who will be the jury now to come and say, no, that report is wrong? So why do we waste extra time to go back to the jury for trial? It makes the thing cumbersome. It makes it long.
All right. Waste time and frustrate people.
Yes, so we use the administrative processes to help the court to determine
a lot of cases.
And Dwalu will solve a lot of problems. Because even in the archive or some other places, people go there and pay people and say, give me, let us say the thing there in the deed. But if the whole board will sanction that report and the chairman will sign it,
correct.
In the event it comes to be false, that chairman knows his reputation and the whole board got an image on the line. And I don't think they'll do it for anybody just to give it. But somebody can do an independent survey and get my do it.
Yeah. And it's very rare in the country.
And
before you run, I want to ask you one question though.
Yeah, let me get and I think this land issue that's getting so serious to Liberia, if we think smartly and we use the administrative agency, which is the land authority,
Correct.
And the LRA. Because also some people get land there, been there for 50 years, they didn't pay taxes, nothing. They lost him a pay tax. What are you using? They got to pay tax every time. You pay taxes on the land, somebody take it. You paying there enough for you. If we use the administrative agencies, we can solve most of the cases easy. Very easy. Very easy. While we're waiting to digitize things, but we can solve some of these matters very easy by using that system.
I believe that. I've always known that we can solve most of the cases, but we don't want to because people consider the bottleneck a chopping area. So they intentionally create a bottleneck so they can so-called chop from people. Councilor Ma, I always wonder this, and it's out of ignorance, and I really don't know this. Why is Liberia, the law in Liberia, or the lawyers in Liberia, why are they so expensive and they're not comparable to the environment in which they work? Why do they charge so much money? Now, I could be wrong. Are Ghanaians charging this much money as well, or Sierra Leonean lawyer charging similar money, or Liberia law just astronomically expensive?
I think Liberia is one of the cheapest around the
Yeah?
world. Yeah.
Oh,
honestly.
Okay.
Tualu, in this environment, in fact, Liberia is one of the cheapest. So it is even difficult for Liberian lawyer to even charge people by hours, which is the standard everybody do around the world. And the rates per hour, in fact, for Ghana, they got the minimum. You can't, as a lawyer, you are not allowed to charge below that rate. You can go up based on your firm, but you cannot go below the rate. And I think the rate is $200 equivalent per hour. And you cannot go below that. Liberia is difficult for you to charge even $100 per hour. Because if I'm supposed to sit Dwalu and review your case, even reading your case and looking at it, it may take me 5-6 hours.
That's right.
So just to read your case alone and to understand what is in the case, before I even start looking at law book to see how I can work on it, that 5-6 hours at $600 already. When I tell you, Dwalu pay me per hour, you know. And when I go to court, whilst the case is going on, the hours are clocking. We bring witnesses on the stand. So if I spend 5 hours in the court every day a week, that is matter 500 per day. Every day. By the time that case is ended, that case takes 42 days. You times that out 42 days. You know how much money you can pay? So what most of the lawyers just do, just look at the people condition and say, okay, the lawyers, and most of the lawyers, I can tell you the truth, most of the lawyers lose. Because look at one guy that tells you, okay, Dwalu, let me see. This thing may take us this. So you pay 5,000. Dwalu may agree to pay that 5,000. But the time that lawyers expect that case to finish, you going back, forth. All Dwalu may not pay 5,000 finish with you. And that's one of the problems when people think they get 5,000 now, you must solve the case one time.
Yeah, in fact, they must win too.
Yeah, you must win too. But you know, I don't blame most of the people. Sometimes the lawyers can tell people that you will win.
Yeah, that's true.
And no lawyer is supposed to tell somebody say you will win.
Because they can have no control.
No, Dwalu. First, my honest thing is to look at it and tell you, say, Dwalu, you think I look here? That's why some of the first training tell you, try to settle the matter out of court.
Yeah.
Dwalu, let's call the other party, let's sit down, let's talk. Because court is expensive. And that's what people don't understand. Going to court is expensive. So let's call the other party, let's sit down. Sometimes people don't understand. Court is expensive. Number two, sometimes you go to court, the harm, the reputational damage, the friction that comes between the parties is irreparable.
That's right.
Because when you go to court, anything can come out.
Yeah.
When you reach before the court now, you can open all Bandora back in the court now.
That's right.
Understand? So you call you first and say, and so what some of us will do until you say, look, we'll try to solve this thing at the conference level. So for us to do the conference, and if we successfully do the conference, we write the stipulation, all the parties agree, we settle the matter. If we can settle the matter at the conference level, then we pay us this amount. If the conference level doesn't work, we have to go to court, then we'll pay us this amount, which will include what you pay us for the conference. If it doesn't work, we have to go to Supreme Court. But the best thing is that conference. And during the conference, the lawyers, if you're smart, you sit there, you can get the two parties will discuss, the lawyers will discuss, say, look, my client say you do this, you pay. The man say, no, this is my land, this is this. When you look at it, I come back, when the people go, I think, say, Dwalu, you're my client. I look at the documents the people brought, I look at our document, I don't think we have a case.
Straight talk.
The Supreme, in fact, the law in Liberia, in the code and in the ethics of the law, is that the Supreme Court supposed to even suspend you, lawyer, if you know that you don't get case, and you take your case and go in from the court. Because sometimes the judge can tell you, but what you bring the kind of case in around? What the case is?
Let me ask you a question. I'm making you consider my. You see, it's a good advice you just gave. I had a lawyer in Liberia, so a Chinese truck jumped in one of my property and destroyed 6 of my toilets. I had these mobile toilets in Liberia. So when the Chinese destroyed the toilet, I literally took the truck and I took it to.
And see, people now, people ready to say you must start a new session at the end of the program. Be doing the
Yeah, if they pay you. No, you're paying the man. Yeah, they make it the man all that for free. But I took the Chinese people and I charged them like $54,000. I wanted that money from them, and I believe I could get that money from them. Right? So when the truck was parked over there, we went back and forth, and the guys at the police station, I said, listen, they both got to fix my property, they got to pay for all my days in between. And so I got a lawyer. We went to arbitration. The lawyer came out and said, well, listen to me. They put us in the world give you 25G. Say the ma and war. I said, no, my man, they put paying my ma. They said, listen, the court, they can do too much. And within the span of it was maybe 17 hours back and forth, the people then came back and said, my man, we got 15G. We're not giving you the 25G no more, based on whatever has been done. My lawyer called me and said, Walu, tell him ma. I'm telling you, the way the case looking, you got a case, but the time in court will be too long. And Liberia is a different environment. Call long story short, I only ended up taking $10,000 because at that point it was at a low ball. Let me ask you this question this way though. If I know everything that happened telling God because now in arbitration, I was forced to take the $10,000 because I didn't want to spend all that time in court and there was no guarantee. And this is China Union. One of the long 18-wheeler. They destroyed the Bassa People village and I had a land right next to it. I had some property. My toilets on the land. They destroyed some of the toilets. That kind of case where if you already have a case because I was just looking at the length of time in Liberia. Was that a stupid decision? I really believe I could get it 54,000 out of there if we have gone to court. But the decision was like, if I go all the time here and they may not going to drag the case. So, and mind you, they may not have BB government officials calling me personally.
No, it's not about the government official. I will just tell you that on the weekend I send you my invoice for the consultation. But it's not only about the government officials. Yes, you could have gone to court if your lawyer look at the assessment because the damages, the time that you stay out not doing business and you calculate all that, you could have gotten probably even $50,000, $54,000, or even $60,000. The question is, as the lawyer says, how much time it was going to take you to do it, and this is why I'm happy with the measures that the Ministry of Justice is taking now to push cases, and I'm looking at these reforms in our law because the first thing is that you hire that lawyer now to start a negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
But if we start to go to the court, I don't know how much you pay the lawyer during that process.
It was like 3G.
If we start the court process now, you may end up paying me almost $12,000.
Yeah.
Or $15,000. And then it is no guarantee that you get that case done in fact in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee. I'll tell you the truth.
No, that's what he said.
The first thing, when you file it to the court, I may have to work the court at least to bring it to be heard within 1.5 years. At least within at least the limited time, not 1 year cell, not 12 months after I file, maybe around 16, 18 months after I file. Then I really work the court because there are other cases long before I went there.
Yeah.
So you use all your thing with the judge, you bail, you find, you bring your case you get on the docket to bring it in front of, because everybody want to bring their own cases in front.
Of course.
Then I bring that one that will go through the case. Yeah, we win. The judge say you win. The man say, okay, I take appeal to the Supreme Court. Hala. Supreme Court already the docket, the cases that there are plenty. They put your own line, you check coming. It may be 5, 10, and the Supreme Court, but you can go force it. The part they tell you say you get coming, who you don't put me here. So maybe it will take another 4 or 5 years before they hear it. The point is, all that time, what will you be doing? You understand? So in good faith, when you started the negotiation and your lawyer came and said, look, take that for 25G.
Yeah.
Because he will explain to you, say, look, to go to court, to do all this.
It was a learning process. Yeah, he said, look.
Yes, you do it, you take it. But sometimes too,
yeah,
if the damage is of a higher magnitude,
yeah, that's
yes. So you damage me or damage my property so much that it cost me almost $200,000. They tell me, say, you give me 50,000. I prefer to say I will go in the end. I will go to the end of the road.
Yeah,
you understand? And sometimes people do it also, not because of the money that they will get from the damages, but maybe sometimes the disrespect. Because they get money, they get company, they will throw you around, they throw 10,000. I mean, you want to let him go for it because it was still on the court. Then some people say, okay, even if I'm not touch that money, even if I've read it up, I will go to court. Even if I will spend extra on my own to go to court, I will take this people to court. And sometimes you do that. You understand? But I think that from that 50-something thousand coming down, it depends on you.
Because the thing is, at the time, and my real damages, yeah,
we just advise you, this is it. Yeah. All right. But the lawyer will always tell you, but in the end, I think we have a good case to go to court. But you have to make that decision.
Oh yeah, and that was the case. And the only reason why I was taking it to court,
and this is the time it will take, but we have a good case. But you can't tell you I will win.
Oh yeah,
I can't tell you I will win. Yeah.
No, the only thing that disrespect, they shoot to the
one of our students, Emmanuel Jackson, said today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Emmanuel. I wish you God's blessings on today.
Oh, Mr. Jackson. I have a Boston man. No, and what the people did, what better pissed me off, I was taking it to court. It's just the people in the village did not listen on Kakatan Highway. Before you hear Kerry's birthday, they did not listen. They listen, you don't take this money. But what the people would they went because they destroyed 3 of the people's houses. The young went and get it put in 1-5. They broke some people's arm. One up begin a whole tier because they were sleeping and the truck jumped from on the road and kind of clear everything. And they get them 1-5. After I told them, you don't take any money. You gotta go with one fist.
But the next time, lawyer,
yeah, they take jump from the road. And I mean, even though I was not even there, because I have vacant area where I park my tin here, I just end up buying that land.
I can assure you that China and Young were never going to go to court. They were going to settle.
They were going to settle.
But the people, because some of the companies don't want bad image, they want bad name.
No, they don't want bad image, yeah.
Push it, and they're going to settle. But once they realize the major damage, injuring people, running to people who bringing it down, all that thing, and they get getting 1-5, they accept it. They say, oh, but the boy accept their own. I remember now he.
In fact, the guy that was driving for them, the guy had been driving 3 days straight, and I caught the whole thing on video. When he started talking, I recorded everything. Even though I recorded, I told the people I was tired. For 3 days, I've not slept. I've been driving. I whole thing on video, and they think I didn't really have time in the country. I said, you know what, wrong? Me and the man, I get a talk. I was just going to take the map. But I should have taken the first map. But it's a learning experience after with the other. Councilor Man, thank you so much. Let me close today with you guys, man. We began the conversation today with a simple thing that I want you guys to understand. When we say Liberia rising, it's all our responsibility to make this country rise and meet its full potential. When we say Liberia rising, it's not a job at anybody else, or this is not a denial for somebody not to come back to power. We say Liberia is rising because this is actually happening. And every single person in the country, I don't care if you're opposition, if you're longing to become president of our country, and you believe that Liberia must be diminished for you to come back to say, oh, look, the people did not work. I believe you don't care about the country and the people that you're trying to lead. If the country is truly doing better, you don't have to say the country is doing better if you're opposition. But what you cannot tell the Liberian people that the country is not getting better. You can be silent about it because the people themselves are seeing what's happening across the country. Now, I understand the argument is being made, but there are still poor people in the country. It's true. There are poor people in the country. There are still people in the country not getting clean drinking water. Yes, I concede that point. We got less than 10% of the country's population that has pipe-borne water. And we understand this. But we know we still got work to do because for the first 23 years after the Civil War, we only have 5%. Over the last 3 years, we are pushing 10%. That means over the last 3 years, Managing Director Mo Ali and his team, they added 5 percentage points in 3 years, as opposed to 21 years previously, that only added 5 percentage points. This is an improvement. That's what we mean by Liberia is rising. If we look at the electricity provision across the country, we have more than doubled the amount of people that have connection across the country, and we have increased the megawatt outage for the country. That is tremendous improvement. I think we added, since President Baka came to power, we added more than 100 megawatts of power compared to what we had before. Yes, current is still going. The frequency has a little bit reduced, but you got to understand more than double the number that were on the grid before has gotten on the grid. This is an improvement. We got over 10,000 miles of roads in the country. We have less than 10% of the miles of roads that are paved. Proper quota were on these roads. Over the last few years, we expected to add another 400 and something kilometers of road addition to the country that is going to be paved. That is an improvement. Yes, I agree. We can quicken the pace and say, listen, why aren't we paving 1,000 kilometers of road? I want 2,000 kilometers of road to be paved. But we cannot be naive about what it takes to pave a road. In Liberia today, to pave 1 kilometer of road, 1 mile of road, well, it's actually a little bit longer. But to pave a mile, they use mile because this is what most of us know. 1 mile of road can run you anywhere from $600,000 US to $1 million to pave 1 mile of road. This is what we are talking about. So if we have a $1.2 billion budget and the government maybe this year probably work out $150 million in the national budget that goes towards road connectivity, and probably where it's paving most of the city streets, or the city capital will get some form of pavement before 2029. That is an improvement. That means there will not be too many mud in Greenville, Mississippi, for example. Greenville, San Luis County, for example. So that main street, that's that main street is repaved. That is progress. Now, we want that to be quickening a lot of bridges. The president brought in a lot of Billy bridges across the country. We know most recently between Bapalo County and Bond County, a new Billy bridge went over that water. Our people will not be drowning in the rivers anymore. That is progress. That's what we are talking about when we say Liberia is getting better. In the rainy season, if you're going into Plebo, if you're going into Harper, or you're going to Zwedru, you're going to Fishtown. It used to take you an entire week to get into Fishtown. Now it takes you nothing more than 12 hours. This is progress. That's what we mean by Liberia is getting better. The airport, the president, the team at the airport, they put on the airport to be run by a private operation. The gas provision in the country, since Honorable Twe been running that agency at LPRC, we have never had any gas shortage in the country. That is progress. That's proper leadership. If you look to the Freeport of Monrovia, people still complain that it's expensive, but it's been operational. The length of time it takes to clear your stuff out of the port, it is still a hindrance. Some people have complained, but it's improved tremendously. This is progress. Thank you so much, and Wilma Dway. He said, nice. It's above $1 million. Thank you. To pave one mile of roads above $1 million. So the progress we are talking about, and I also want people to understand this though. We got to speak life into Liberia. It's like you're raising a child. Like when my kids were babies, since they've been born, you have to also always tell them that they're capable of a whole lot more. In Liberia, we got a tendency, what we say, hey, the other child's stupid. The other one, you can never tell your child that. You got to praise them. You got to make them believe in themselves. You got to reinforce the positivity in their lives. And then that is going to be manifested in their life because you're preaching so long, they believe that they themselves can rise to the occasion. This is the self-fulfilling prophecy we talk about. So if we want Liberia to develop, we got to say Liberia is getting better. We got to say Liberia is improving. And where it's not improving, we point those out, and then we continue to let the administration know that Liberia is improving in Cape Mount County because the roads are going there. Then we'll go new market building, new hospital, new clinic, better quality schools. We got to speak the positivities into Liberia. Most of us, before we came to America, I don't know one person that came to America before the very first time they came to America who did not believe that America was heaven on earth. Let me talk again. I don't know one Liberian citizen who believed that they are getting America. In fact, there are Liberians still back home that have said this. One of my brothers is in Trenton, New Jersey right now. He used to say this when I first met him in Liberia. He was a money changer. When I used to go to Liberia back in around 2006. The first time I met him, I think he came to Liberia, came to the States in 2015. He used to tell me, Dwalu, if I don't go to America and I die, my casket will not go. Because in his mind, this was the place, and we all believe this. I'm not excluding myself. We all believe this before we came to this country, because the marketing strategy of America is to present an image that everything is gravy here, everything is lovey-dovey here. I'm not going to tell you it is not, because by comparison, compared to our country, this is far better. But those of us who live in America, we know better. We know better. We know the marketing strategy was mostly a hype, and the reality is quite different from what the marketing strategy was. So I want you to present Liberia, present Grangeda County as this place where anything is possible. That we can do the work to make anything possible in Grangeda County. We can do the work to make anything possible in River G County. We can do the work to make anything possible in Bomi County. And then, because we are doing the work to make anything possible, that possibility is going to manifest itself in these various counties. Not without work, but with work. But I don't want us to always downplay Liberia. Nothing good can come from Liberia. The other player, but you go there and people this way, people that way. The question that I always ask is, what are you doing for all to move the people from there? If I told you guys the story before, people used to call me people Opa in Liberia. You don't want to have my tanker trucks in the country. I have 3 massive tanker trucks. I have 2 additional carriers. I have over 100 toilets scattered across the country. The first people, when I was training my guys, if I was a day in Massachusetts, I actually pay a porta potty company. I paid them for 2 weeks for me to learn what they were doing. So I had to pay them to clean the porta potties here in the state of Massachusetts to be able to go home and teach my guys. So my 27 guys that I hired at the time, all of them were trained by me personally. So the first set of quote-unquote poo-poo in real life, I cleaned it myself. I cleaned all the toilets because I wanted to show my guys that I was not bigger than this. I wanted them to clean this toilet consistently because I wanted them to have respect for the people in real life. I said, listen, the people in real life, you got to keep the toilet always like this. The same way you're keeping the toilet at the U.S. Embassy, that's how I want the toilets to be kept here in real life. The same way you're keeping the toilet with the Chinese and the German, because we had toilets with the Chinese, we had toilets with the Germans, we had toilets with Metal Steel, we had toilet with Kennedy Hotel. And the same way, because when they go to the U.S. Embassy, they can clean the toilet very clean. They will wipe all inside, I bought in the towel, the whole outfit. They will clean it, it be smelling good. I wanted that same cleaning in real life. So the very first set of toilets in real life, I had to clean it. And the reason why I did that, I wanted to show them that if we're going to present this to our people, the same quality we're giving the Americans and the Germans and the Chinese, I want you to give the same quality to the people in real life. And people say, oh, that we are poo-poo opa. They used to literally call me poo-poo opa. Because I told them, listen, if you're afraid of the poo-poo, then you will not do it. Even if you're going down Merklin Street, where that poo-poo used to come up. One time, Water and Sewer paid me. I brought my trucks and we de-slush it for them. And I told the guys how to do this because I had learned it from here for 2 weeks in order for me to be able to teach the guys in Liberia to operate the trucks, to do this and do that and do that. And this is how we improved the system, because I was showing them and I made them believe that it was not a bad thing for them to do. So if we're going to change Liberia, we have to do something in Liberia. And Nelly, let me tell you one thing I noticed in real life one time. I was not there. My guy called me. There was a girl. We did not know who this girl. We actually found a baby in one of the toilets one time. Very brand new baby that was just born. Somebody actually delivered, and they took the baby, the small baby, and they put it in the toilet. And the baby got stuck in the pipe because this is a vacuum suction pipe. So when you sucking, and the thing just got stuck. And then we looked, and the police came in. They had to take the baby out. The baby was already there. They took the baby out, and then they wrapped the baby. And the people came and took the baby, whatever it was. But the baby was there. Somebody put a baby in the mobile toilet, the porta potty. They actually put it. So my guys called me. They said, Ochi, we found something in the toilet. I had to join me with my truck, and I ran to red light. It was in the night. I ran to red light, and I looked there, and there was a baby literally laying down there. They found the baby in the toilet. But guess what? I told my guys, this is one of the things we will find here. People will throw trash in the toilet. This is another problem we were facing, because the toilet is only meant for feces, urine, and tissue that was sick. Those are the only 3 things supposed to go in that toilet, but people will pull all kind of things. I'm talking about female hygiene product. And we had a B sound, but nobody would listen. And the female hygiene product, when you put them in the toilet, it creates a massive problem. And Liberia is hot. So we had to use special chemical. These chemicals cost $1,000 for the 5-gallon tank. They were very expensive. But the problem here is we had to remove the toilets from real life because people were dumping garbage inside the toilet. So we have to remove all the toilets from real life. Because what I wanted to do is, because one thing was happening in Liberia, people were yet peeing all around Monrovia. And I really didn't like that. So I fell. I had toilet all intern beyond finance ministry. I had toilet, you pay $5 LD. LD. You can go inside, you pee pee, you poo poo. $5 LD. You pee pee and poo poo. But we had to remove them because people were throwing trash. Now, most of the toilet intern, they were not throwing so much trash, but they started stealing, heavy stealing. So, for instance, when we put the toilets outside the very first time, I would go there myself. I would spend a whole day with them. Maybe that whole day they would make $10,000 from one toilet. But the day I'm not there, they cannot even make $1,000. You're stealing what just obvious. So people will tell you they want job in Liberia, but they don't want job. They won't be able to go somewhere where they can steal from. And then we had to pull the toilets back from the city because I could not be everywhere. And most of my guys, it doesn't matter who you put there, they will steal from you. And what they don't understand, if the business grow, and mind you, nobody was making less than $200 a month. Because I felt when all my drivers then made $250. Because I felt if I pay them more money, they will protect this thing. Now know it's the opposite in Liberia. If you pay them more, they tell you, say you're stupid, you don't know good money, the man's stupid. So I had to pull the toilets back. I had to let maybe I let the first 12 people go. Then I ended up cutting the staff down to almost 7 because now we had no toilets in the street. We were only targeting the Americans, Metal Steel, the Europeans, and they were taking the toilet. People birthday party, for example. When Ellen was going to the Cape Mount, I would take toilets and carry to Cape Mount for her. When they have an event across the country, and I would take these porta parties across the country. That's what we had to do. So I had to let most of the guys go because they were stealing heavily. So people don't want jobs at time in Liberia. Sometimes people want something now. It didn't throw me out of business. It was just a little bit difficult because the main thing I took the toilets to Liberia was to distribute them across the toilet. Look, I've seen our women, our men, but I didn't really care about the men then so much, or I didn't like them peeing us out too. But I've seen women just squat between 2 cars and piss in Monrovia. I've seen them squat between 2 buildings. Almost every girl in Liberia will put tissue in their bed and carry the tissue with them. And I found that quite disgusting, and I felt like I could do something about it to put the toilets across the city. You just walking in a toilet across Monrovia, you pay your $5, you pay your $10, and then you use the toilets. And every day the trucks come around and just suck them, clean them up, and then we take it and we dump it in Fiamma where it was being dumped. Now, over time, the goal was to consolidate the feces and the urine and then convert it into something else. That was the dream. But then that dream had to change because the way people were not really prepared to fully understand how these toilets operate. And they were abusing it. People would put trash in it, and they were costing us a lot of money to do some of this stuff. But I'm saying this to say that if we want good thing to happen in Liberia, we got to roll up our sleeves, all of us. They're not one person. That we got to roll up our sleeves. And don't let anybody lie to you. This is a very, very lucrative business. People don't know this, but the majority of the money that I got to build my 5-story, 50-apartment building in Liberia, it came from cleaning that poo-poo. That poo-poo in Liberia. When Ebola came to Liberia, I supplied all the U.S. troops that were in Liberia. I was supplying it. I supplied the hand sanitizers. I supplied it. They took over 70 toilets. And the toilet is $125 US per day per toilet. So they got in over 70 toilets. So each toilet is $125 US per day per toilet. So it was very good money in the country if you know how to manage it. Our people could not afford it, so I felt like we put some toilet outside that they can use directly in real life. That way we don't have to pee and poo outside. Can you imagine you see your mom, your sister, just go between 2 cars and pee? That's so uncivilized. But how do we change that? It's the mentality we have to fight with. The market is still there. I still believe the market is there. It is a tough market to deal with. And we did a lot of numbers. This is how I really understand the trash issue in the country and how to address it. We had to fly into Laos, learn what they were doing over there. They got bigger population, how to really curtail the trash in the city, how to modernize the city. I had to spend close to 7 years with a lot of studies, how to really modernize the city. And we had to explain, even when Mary Bro were mayor of the city, I would spend a lot of time with her to understand it. When Clara was mayor of the city, Madame Situma was mayor of the city, and I would bring these great ideas to them, how to improve the city. And that's some of the things we did in the city, because we really believe if we modernize Liberia, it's going to trickle down to the rest of the counties and the counties' capitals. So I compile all these reports on how to address the city. Monrovia is a very small city. In fact, we don't have enough trash in the city. We don't have enough trash in the city. There should be no dumper anywhere in Monrovia, none whatsoever. The dumper can pay for itself, literally. The money being given to the city right now is small, but the city has the capacity right now, as it stands, in 1 to 2 years to generate nothing less than $15 million by itself. Now, Montreal City Corporation is a corporation. The full capacity is north of $100 million over a 10-year period. With the plans that you can put together for the city. Look, we got 1.5 million people in the city. 1.5 million people. You can get a minimum of $20 or $50 per person out of the city every single year. There is a way to do that. So some of the things that we did in the city, trying to clean poo, because oh, Mr. Dwalu, why you leave from America? You kind of like, can't clean poo. And mind you, that myself clean the poo. But that's how what people think. They think everybody's going to come from America and go sit down in office. And for me, I worked in office my entire life. I just didn't want to be in office anymore. I just want to be Osa. And Liberia is green. And I will close with it to tell you, all got to roll up our sleeves, some kind of a way. I don't care if you won't be cabbage seller, be the best cabbage seller for Liberia. Be the best cabbage seller for Liberia. Roll up your sleeves, show out what people back home. Let me tell you something. If anybody tells you Liberian people back home are lazy, tell them they're lying to you. These people need leadership. These people need to show them. I used to work the living hell out of my guys. They used to steal. But there was a way over time. In the beginning, I would fire them. Then over time, I said, no, I'm not firing you. My 7 guys that are in a way, I train every single one of them. I'm forced to train them. Everybody, you have to be a horse. You be a horse, you're not working for me. You were part of it. I had to force them. You have to commit them. You got to push them. Even the guys that built my facility, all of them be a horse from inside. Because the whole thing was, you got to pay it forward some kind of a way. And this is how we got to push Liberia. So when I say Liberia is rising, we mean this. We have to find a way to push Liberia in front. You got to find a way. The city has to be modernized. We have the capacity to modernize the city today. 1.5 million people living in the city is not free. There is a way to really get money from these people without asking them to pay. So there are so many things that we can do in the country. And let's continue to champion the cause of Liberia. Nobody's going to change that country but us. Liberia must grow, and Liberia must always be here. You got to remember that now. We got to love this place, and we got to always celebrate Liberia. So our people across the country, man, thank you so much for popping in here. And as always, thank you, and have a great day. No more. This country moves forward.
We will never make that mistake again. Yeah, to elect CDC anymore. Yeah. They said pro-poor but brought more pain. Now JNB fixing what they left in shame. We will never make that mistake again. No more suffering in Liberia. We see the truth, we break the chain. Never again. Oh, never again. Yeah. They said pro-poor but it was pro-scandal. Selling our passports, money just vanished in the channel. Poor youths dying, overdose on drugs in the streets. While leaders building mansions from the people's sweat. They cut their salaries, built their own homes. While the mothers cry, no rice on a plate. Hospitals empty, no medicine to find. But they fly to Ghana when they feeling sick. Yeah. We will never make that mistake again. Yeah. To elect CDC anymore. They said pro-poor but brought more pain. Now JNB fixing what they left in shame. We will never make that mistake again. No more suffering in Liberia. We see the truth, we break the chain. Never again. Oh, never again. Yeah. No good school cause they send their kids away to foreign lands while our teachers barely get paid. No more scam contracts, no more fake plan. Libya rising now under a real man. The truth revealed, corruption exposed. The lies of CDC everybody knows. Now the youth say no more manipulation. Time to rebuild this proud nation. So let the drums be for justice and light. Let the people chant for freedom and right. We learn our lesson through struggle and tears. No more CDC for 1,000 years. Oh, we will never make that mistake again. Yeah. To elect CDC anymore. Yeah. They said pro-poor but brought more pain. JNB fixing what they left in shame. We will never make that mistake again. No more suffering in Liberia. We see the truth, we break the chain. Never again. Oh, never again. Yeah. Libya, rise. Let the sun shine on truth and wise. We've been fooled once, but never twice. Never again. We will never make that mistake again. To elect CDC anymore. They said pro-poor, but brought more pain. Now JMB fixing what they left in shame. We will never make that mistake.
Developmental ASIBO, you have finished everything, so now we in District 17. You see, there was that hostage here.